and welcome to Xena, Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two subtextual co-hosts, Katie.
Hi.
And Livy.
Hi.
I have a very important announcement.
Do you? I say as I stealthily put my hand into my robes.
And what are you doing there? Are you having a moment like how Gabrielle has a moment when she sees Eli healing?
Oh no! Oh no!
Keep it
you
to
set
yourself.
a record problematic in the first minute of the podcast.
Keep your hand to yourself.
I plan to.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, beware the Ides of March and also beware St. Patrick's Day, which is when we are actually recording. We were supposed to be doing it on Ides of March, but we have failed.
I beware St. Patrick's Day way more than Ides of March. Yeah. No thanks. I'm going to drink my Irish whiskey at home. Thank you.
Yeah, like right now. Well, this is my announcement. My announcement is that we have made it to Ides of March, or
holy shit,
Idols of March, as Hulu says.
Hulu likes to call it, aka Idols of March.
I'd like to take a vacation in the Idols of March. Seems nice. Sounds relaxing.
But yeah, it's just incredible that this is such a major episode when you think about Xena, the show.
I'm scared.
And we are here now.
Yeah.
We are facing it.
No, this is wild. This really is like a mark. Like, I feel like we're gonna be over a hump after this.
Yeah, what's
I
left?
feel like we've
season 5.
Just kidding.
We've climbed Mount Xena, and now we're gonna start climbing down.
Okay, I guess.
What?
I don't know.
So I don't mean that as a reflection of quality. Just like our undertaking has reached its apex.
Because season 5
point.
is a troubling time.
They say when you come down the mountain, that's when you're most fatigued and most in danger of having that brain thing happen where you start hallucinating.
Oh, man.
Is that what season 5 is?
Yeah, that's season 5 for us.
Cool.
So be careful.
Beware.
I know what my next favorite episode is that I'm looking forward to after this one.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I don't think you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay, well, our other really fun announcement. Well, it's not an announcement. We just
it's an announcement to make.
Sure.
We invented a salad.
We invented a salad.
Yes.
No, we are decked out in our white robes, and we are announcing that...
Again.
Yeah, again.
Because we definitely mentioned it already.
Yes. We just wanted to say shout out to the Cutthroats at Xena Retreat, because that's where we're going to be parked at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just sitting, though.
Yeah,
Parked, not helping win any points.
Aww. Yeah, for those who don't know, Callisto's Cutthroats is one of the nations at the Xenite Retreat.
Yeah.
We have been sorted. I feel very special.
I know, it's the closest we'll ever get to Hogwarts.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, I have a place. I have a home.
So yeah, we're not just attending the retreat to sit in the Cutthroats bunk beds. We're also going to be doing a live show.
Yay!
Whoa!
Our very first ever live show, and maybe our last.
Stay tuned. Yeah, but we're gonna hopefully put it online for people who are not there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we will, as long as technology allows.
Right.
We will definitely have a record of it to share with you all.
But if you're there, please come.
Mm-hmm. But don't look at us.
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys know, are there tickets still left? Can people still buy?
I think so.
I think there's a little bit, yeah.
So go to
Come to retreat.
www.xeniteretreat.com.
Sounds
accurate.
Okay, so speaking of Callisto and her Cutthroats.
Oh.
Is us.
Yes. Callisto is in this episode.
Holy shit.
So.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. So why don't we start talking about it now on that note. 421, Ides of March.
Wow.
Written by R.J. Stewart and directed by Ken Girardi.
Yes. Ken Girardi, new name to Xena. This is his only Xena episode, but he is already at this point a very prolific genre TV director. He had directed episodes of La Femme Nikita, Adventures of Sinbad, Earth the Final Conflict. Then after Xena, he's done a shitload of just about every TV show you can name, including 24, Supernatural, Stargate SG-1, Burn Notice, A. Bruce, Warehouse 13, Law and Order Criminal Intent, Bomb Girls. That one made me happy.
Bomb Girls.
Killjoys, Daredevil. He's directed 14 episodes of Vikings, so big Vikings guy. And Orphan Black.
All right.
Right, so based on that, we can tell immediately that he is Canadian.
And very talented.
Very talented, yeah. That's a huge thing, all the Vikings episodes. That's huge.
And I feel like you can see just how great he is here in Ides of March.
Yeah.
It's just one of the best directed episodes of the show, and it's impressive for a guy who never directed Xena before.
To come in and get this.
Yeah.
And it's been a while, but like, as you're saying, best directed, but it's been a while since we've had one that was on the whoosh list of best of all times.
Yes.
I mean, if this episode wasn't on best
and high
up, then what episode could be? I mean,
don't know.
On. This is like major.
This is number 3.
Number 3, behind only
One Against the Army and
A Day in the Life.
Have we done the whole 12?
That's a good question.
Maybe When Fates Collide.
When Fates Collide is on the list.
Get to.
But otherwise, we've done them all.
All right.
Wow.
So, well,
that goes with Katie's thing about ascending the mountain of Xena.
You said that.
Oh, right. Does that seem right? Number 3? Do you agree? Disagree?
I would put it above
disagree. Yeah.
A Day in the Life.
Yeah.
It's true that they're so different. It almost seems unfair to compare such things.
True.
But I mean, Day in the Life is like, I can see how, like, that's such a high up there because it's such a go-to for, like, if you're just in the mood to watch Xena, like, just put that on. Or you can show that to anyone.
Yeah, it's a fun
and
time.
Whatever. This one is, like...
less fun.
You can show...
So fun, though.
You can definitely show this episode to people when you're, like, trying to get them to watch Xena, as I did for you guys. But it does not have the same weight as if you're watching the show entirely, because like you really feel what happens in this episode if there's a big old lead up to it.
This is a show that's telling a story, and it has been telling this story like not only throughout season 4 but since season 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And you feel the weight of all that. It is amazing just how much, like how many threads are drawn into like this perfect little bow.
Season 1 even, if like we're talking about Callisto.
Right, Callisto. And Gabrielle's journey, obviously.
Well,
she mentions stuff in
since
season
episode
1.
1. Been building. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, this feels like bookends with Destiny. Which was Caesar's first episode back in the middle of season 2.
Right.
There are a lot of callbacks, and you feel just how sort of perfectly they've laid out that story. It feels very deliberately done, which is so impressive considering how many years have elapsed between them. I mean, how many different people they've had writing episodes. Like, it's amazing to me just how tight this serialized story actually is.
Right.
Like, this is not a like messy landing. This is one of those perfect, sharp gymnastics landings where you're just like, bam, they're down.
Sticked it.
They stuck that thing.
Not like Carrie Strug.
No Carrie Strugging up in here.
Not Carrie Strug the first time. The second. The second one. The second vault.
But this one, you know, they don't even have a broken ankle. Like, the show is just in fine health, and it lands this thing, and you're just like, bam, that's some athleticism.
Wow. Yeah, so where is it for you, Liv? I know, Vera, it's...
Yeah, I would definitely put it high up. It's hard
below
for me.
The price.
It's always very hard for me to judge finales because I feel like they're almost like different things. I mean, it is a finale. It is a finale. I refuse to think of it as not a finale. It's a finale with an episode after it for some reason, but it's still a finale. But it's hard to, you know, they are so different than other episodes of the show. You know, they're not self-contained. They're so self-referential. They have to do more than a typical episode in the same way that a pilot has to do more. You know, I would put Sins of the Past high up on a list just for being so successful for what it is, even if it doesn't compare.
Nope, it has a fight on heads. Nope.
So yeah, it's hard. I think this is the best of the finales. So that maybe tells you about where I would place it in a list. But at the same time, it's hard for me to compare it to an episode that isn't a finale because I just feel like It's so different.
Sure.
The demands are different.
Okay.
I love it.
I like it more than Sacrifice Part 2, which
I agree. This is the best.
Sure if I did until the rewatch.
To me, this is the best, kind of like biggest, what we would call standard season finale that we know, like from Buffy. You know, like big ass, like whoa, shit's going down, like massive character development, like. Whoa! And
Sacrifice Part 2 was actually very sloppy if you looked at the
it had
entirety of the episode.
Dayhawk cult there.
Yeah,
they look
and
silly.
Seraphim.
Yeah, Seraphim.
Yeah, like it had a lot of.
Oh, remember Seraphim? She started the Pixie Cut
And then
trend.
a year later, everybody has one. Absolutely everybody.
Now it has spread to Callisto.
There are literally no blondes on screen who don't have that haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was interesting to go back and be like, oh, this is just, like, I love Sacrifice Part 2 basically for 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah,
Whereas this, like, the whole thing
yes.
is really strong. And then, like, the last 15 minutes are just, you have not seen television like this.
No.
Like, it is so intense.
You guys ready to talk about it?
Yeah, I guess so. No, but all right.
Okay. So we sort of start with this, like, black, cavernous room. There's lots of dogs barking.
Yeah, that's the first thing you hear.
Yeah, you just hear, you see black and you hear dogs barking, and then there's like...
Phil, do you want to bark? No.
No, he's sleeping right now.
Please.
Phil the Frenchie is here because we're in hell, and hell is populated by tiny French bulldogs going, arf, arf, don't podcast.
That sounds great.
Don't podcast.
That sounds really good.
There's torture. All the torture ever is happening.
Some of it seems sort of wacky, like the guy who just has a ladle full of water and is like pouring it.
Well,
He's thirsty.
Yeah,
He's
thirsty.
taunting him. Yeah. It looked
Yeah.
funny though. It looked like soup ladle, be afraid.
There's all sorts of sweaty, like gross, tormented humans. And then we see Gollum.
100% calm. And this again is a wonderful bookend because as you remember in Sin Trade, Xena was in the Gollum stance.
Yeah, that's right.
Down that cave doing her shamaness thing.
Yeah, so this time Gollum is Callisto, sporting her new do.
I love it. Can we talk about
She
Sure.
looks cute.
You're not into it.
I think it's fun. It's got it fits what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like,
To me, it reminded me of what you'd give to a prisoner, to a penitent. You know, it felt like it had been kind of like shorn off.
Exactly.
All right, you're making me appreciate it more.
Like,
I thought it
I'd
was
rather
just-
her hair
yeah.
be the way that it was, but like I feel like for this environment, it's very good.
Callisto had really good, like, crazy hair, like, unlike whenever Xena had it. Because, like, the last time we saw her in a cave was, like, at the beginning of all the season 3 stuff. Like, she was the Hercules rat, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she looked
and
really...
this feels kind of familiar. I actually thought of when she was prisoner in Return of Callisto, how you're introduced to, like, all the other prisoners being like, and she's there kind of being mocked by a bunch of men. That felt similar to this situation that we're about to see with her and Dude, whose name I did not write down. So he's just
does he even have a name?
Dude.
Well, all right, before that, though, we have a little bit of her torment, which is that Gabrielle appears in her season 3 look.
With a wig. I actually, because of this wig, I saw Gabrielle and I was like, it's Hope. Oh, no. Hope has come to visit Callisto in hell.
Actually, that's interesting.
I really
would
thought
have been
that
cool.
strongly.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe Hope's in this episode too.
Well, it's supposed to be Gabrielle.
It is actually Gabrielle, but it's evil Gabrielle kind of reads as Hope anyway,
Sure.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And she appears and she's like, who's suffering now? I thought it was interesting that Callisto has a sword, that she's allowed to have a sword down there. I don't know. Well, I mean, it's part of her torment.
It's part of her torment. But yeah, you're right. It seems to give her almost power.
Yeah.
The fact that everybody else is tied up and she's kind of crouched with a sword. It shows that
defensive.
She's tied up in her mind.
Right. Yeah. And, well, then Xena appears and she's like, and you thought you were getting oblivion.
Well, I love how Gabrielle does the, like, right here on the points at her neck.
Come at me, bro. Right here. Yeah.
Xena's cute little wink face is cute. She makes a lot of good faces as this Callisto vision.
Yeah. She's
her performance reminded me of Lucy Lawless playing Callisto.
Oh.
Which I thought was, I mean, I guess because those are when our two leads have sort of done their evil voices.
And she's like, this place makes Tartarus look like a day at the beach. How long are you in for? Eternity? That's got a smart.
That's a very Xena line.
So, of course, Callisto cannot hurt these people, these, her tormentors. So she's very frustrated. And then this, gross caveman dude comes up to her, tries to be gross at her. She punches him.
She's like, ugh, get out of my face.
Yeah, and so, his torment is to be obsessed with her.
I'm doomed to be obsessed for eternity with a woman who despises me. What a nightmare! It's so, really? Really, dude, that's the worst.
Well, I was like, is this supposed to be Theodorus? Who is this?
I mean, you're right that there is some... I think it is meant to refer back to that for Callisto is a punishment to have a man who's, just continually bothering her with his interest.
Oh my gosh, that you guys are focused so much on this part of it when the best part of it is how she goes, no kidding.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true.
It's the line about Callisto. Who cares about this guy?
Yeah. I don't know. I just was really thrown by how much weight was put on him. I mean, he's got Satan's ear.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is this guy?
I actually have a theory about this.
All right.
This is Satan.
Oh, it actually is Satan.
Yeah.
Well, why did he come at her in this guise?
Why is he so
To
obsessed?
fuck with her?
Fuck with me.
I feel like this guy, I half wonder if Satan actually doesn't think he can, make Caesar an emperor and turn Xena from her way. That all of this is just more torment for Callisto. I'm sending you back to Earth to just see everything once more that you can't affect, that you can't change. She's always going to fail.
Well, I mean, he sends her out with specific instructions not to do something, and then probably knowing that she will not be able to control herself and do it.
Yeah, so I feel like even though what we're presented with is fairly straightforward, this is what my lord wants, I feel like my lord is actually smarter than this, and a lot of this is poor Callisto continuing to be fucked with and punished.
But I do think that, the show, we're jumping the gun a little bit, but the show is doing the first step to transition to the new mythology, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're jumping the gun. You already see hints of it here. This is hell.
Right, well, they start talking about, my lord, something else that, it's not Hades, it's not Tartarus, this is new, and just even bridging the concept that, Satan from hell that is, Christian-based wants Caesar, a guy who's, ancient Rome, is already, weird for your brain.
Yeah, and dude who maybe is Mephistopheles.
Mm-hmm. The wiki actually says that it is, even though throughout the episode there's no names named.
Dark Lord, not the fact that this guy who's hitting on Callisto
because we were going to get Mephistopheles and Lucifers and stuff legitimately in this show,
right.
But
so we
right
call
here
him
it's
Satan
unnamed.
because he's not Satan yet,
right?
Yeah.
So we are going to call him Evil Lord.
Miscellaneous Evil Lord.
Miscellaneous Evil Lord
right,
/ the wiki says Mephistopheles, which goes with the whole Faustian deals that are throughout the episode, or temptations, shall we say.
Yeah, we like that, temptations.
Yeah. Well, I really like your interpretation that this guy is not just a random other person in hell, but the guy.
I feel like that makes it make more sense in my mind.
Huh. Because otherwise I was I don't understand why this random has not Satan's ear.
Just because they didn't want to create a actual devil character right this instant.
No. There's definitely good reasons for why that. I'm sure they were building towards that character. It doesn't quite pay off, does it? It's not like Mephistopheles becomes a major character in Xena, but he's there in Fallen Angel. But yeah, I wanted to go back to our conversation about the meshing of the religions.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this mention here of the karmic ladder.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that this is pretty amazing that we're in Christian hell with a character who's speaking for Mephistopheles, and he says Xena isn't going to heaven, she's going
higher
to
up,
reborn, higher up the wheel.
Right. Yeah, and then Callisto's well, fuck that.
She's why does she get to be Hindu and I'm stuck here in Christian hell?
Right.
That to me, that was a little bit funny because it was I have to reckon with this season and discuss Xena's India arc stuff.
Yeah.
Well, because obviously the show is very invested in the idea of reincarnation being a fact, as we will see, the actual effects of that. We've already seen it and we'll continue to see it as, canonically part of the show, even though it's confusing. It's confusing, and it is like, if you want some kind of neat ideology or morality or something, like, you're just not going to get it here. And that's what's so great about this show. It just resists all that. It just, you can't, it's like, yep, this exists, this exists, this exists. And like, what's really great about this arc and then into next season, I feel like, is like, number one, that transition from like ancient religions to like modernity, but also just kind of the fact that like, if there are people around believing in it, then it's real.
People have different faiths, so that different religions can exist on top of each other.
Yeah, so everything is there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to make sense, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, but I can see how it could be frustrating if you want it to be a neat thing that you can tie together. But you can't, sorry.
The show is definitely, though, moving into a place where the Christian cosmology is like dominating the story.
Well, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the first step.
This is, we're seeing it moving in.
Mm-hmm.
And Hinduism moving out to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We've left India behind.
But I think it's fascinating and also inevitable. Like, I mean, the twilight of the gods is inevitable.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about this, I think, even back in Sins of the Past, with its, very Christian overtony name there with the S word. Like, this has been a part of the show's DNA from the beginning, this idea of sin and atoning for sin and redemption.
Yeah.
While these ideas obviously exist in every religion, like, in my mind, that is such a Christian idea. And I think it's natural that this would become such a major component of the show.
Absolutely. I mean, we're dealing with a lot of Western ideas and a lot of ideas of like what it means to be a hero in this context. Like, it's not a surprise to me that is what is overlaid on the show. Although, because there's so much else in it that they explore, you get to do a lot of interesting interpretations, I think, along the way.
And I definitely think the more we see of Eli and this particular version of Christianity, the more complicated and ambiguous it is. It's not being held up as the be-all and end-all, finally, the way, like you say, the way of explaining things. You see places where it actually fails to, like, bring satisfaction to Xena and Gabs, that it's, that they're always looking for the right way of doing things, and it's not like they ever, like, say, this is the one, even though it is.
Well, maybe in this one they have it in. Let's talk about it.
What is it, the final word?
I don't know.
All right. So, anything else about Callisto in Hell? I love that she barks like a dog.
She does this throughout the episode.
Yeah, it's cool. Does that mean we see the dogs in Hell that seem almost like demons? So I was wondering if this is to signify to us that she herself is a demon. She barks like those dogs of hell.
I don't know, but remember that one time Gabs growled like a dog?
We're just into that this season.
It also made me think of Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Callisto is the dogs of war.
That's why it's happening.
There's going to be a lot of Shakespeare in this episode because it is basically an adaptation of Julius Caesar.
Well, speaking of how we were talking about, like, ways and stuff, so, like, at the very end of this scene is where we kind of get the rules laid out for what Callisto is meant to do.
Right.
And she has to knock Xena off the path that she has found.
The way of the warrior.
Technically in India. Yes, the way of the warrior. Callisto needs to win in a spiritual way. She can't physically harm her. Mm-hmm. It has to be, it's like a war for your soul right now.
This is so juicy. I love that Callisto is Mephistopheles' chosen spiritual warrior to defeat Xena. Doesn't that seem perfect?
Yes.
Like, if anyone could do it, it is her. I know that there was some discussion. I couldn't really find an interview with one of the higher-ups to actually confirm this, but fans were saying that Alti was the original kind of person who was going to play this role in Ides of March.
Crazy because RJ said that he didn't start writing this until he knew he could get
Callisto.
Hudson.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was confused by that. And I mean, maybe it was the sort of thing where they were like, we could do Alti, but it would be great.
Because it's spiritual or whatever.
Yeah. Right. You can kind of see how she could be there. It's a vision that she originally introduced to the show. It would be a nice bookend, again, with Syntrade. Mm-hmm. It's, to me, like, Alti is not that person who can tempt Xena away.
No.
Like, that is Callisto. Callisto has always been that dark mirror for Xena, and I love that she's back to do this.
Yeah. Even Callisto's dialogue, like, she cooks my family, destroys my life, and I end up in hell while she gets another shot. That's fair.
I was nodding along with her.
These are such fucking personal.
I was like, you got a point, girl.
Yeah, and then Xena, you know, shows up being like, isn't that ironic, don't you think? Wink,
It's
wink.
like, right, and then Callisto's like, no, please, not again.
It gets stuck in my head.
No
Stop
more.
it, Xena. It's such an earworm. So she's now supposed to do this without harming Xena. That's like the key to the whole thing.
Plus,
this is so well written. Yeah, this episode. I don't know if you noticed. It's just really well written. You see everything at the beginning, and then you get the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Including the next scene.
Very carefully done.
Right. So, I mean, the point we sort of mentioned it is that not Satan is... Mephistopheles is very interested in the man they call Caesar.
The man they call Caesar. And here he is.
Yes. Interior, Caesar's bedroom. Night. Topless brunette rides Caesar. The power, the passion, the danger. She's got a dagger.
Oh.
And it's Xena.
I love any sex dream where the penetration is done by Xena.
Here, here. So she's about to stab. And Caesar jolts away.
And she has this great cat scream as she does the stabbing.
Yeah.
She comes.
It's very good.
Oh, and it's very...
Yeah.
You don't see this often on Xena.
You certainly
so it is
don't.
a little bit like, oh.
Yeah. And
It was cut from some airings.
Oh.
It was deemed too graphic.
Yeah, it's because Caesar wakes up with the weirdest boner.
In the commentary, Lucy says that from the back shot is not her.
Thank you for that information.
If you would like to know facts about filming, that's what she said.
That's too bad.
That's because it's like whenever she doesn't have to be on camera, she does not
need to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly...
Is my face in this shot?
Yes,
No.
exactly. Like, so a lot of the fight scenes, too, it's like... That's why there's so much Hey Zoe in this one.
Oh, we love Zoe.
Yeah, I love Zoe.
They're my favorite Hi Zoe. Oh, no, I have two. One's in the finale.
Okay. So Callisto appears, and she's got a new outfit. It is a glorious white robe.
And I love that she's kind of lounging beside him.
Yeah, it's like a robe dress.
He's like, I dreamt there's a woman in my bed. And oh my God, there is a woman in my bed.
Yeah, and then she says, that Xena can really mess up a dream, can't she?
Wow, Callisto.
Oh, Callisto knows.
I really want the
Which
Callisto
is weird, 'cause
version of this dream.
Remember how Callisto's messing up Xena's dreams?
Yeah. That was also sexy.
So Callisto explains that she's there to give him everything that he's ever desired.
She's going to help him finally fulfill his destiny.
Yes.
The D word.
That's right.
Which obviously is, that's a word we associate with Caesar all the way back from his episode Destiny. It's nice to hear it coming out of Callisto's mouth as a way of tempting him. I love having our two major baddies together. It did have just a special, amazing power, because these are the two major figures in Xena, and it's cool, kind of like chief male baddie and chief female baddie kind of teaming up.
Yeah, and what are they talking about? They're talking about Xena.
Of course they're talking about
What
Xena.
else would they talk about?
And there is a certain weird tension between them. I feel like for Caesar, it's just like he's kind of freaked out by her, which is fun to see.
Well, because he doesn't know this.
No.
This is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Like, he had a weird sex dream about Xena, and then this bitch shows up in his bed.
Yeah.
Like, talking about Xena, giving him his destiny. Like, all right.
And I like to see Caesar in this position where he's a little shaken, because he's usually so on top of things that to have not only Xena but Callisto kind of getting to him feels very satisfying.
That's what I always want from Xena in general. Like, I know it's great to see it on Caesar too, but I love when Xena is shaken, as you say.
Yeah.
Because she's always on top of it.
Of course.
Even though she's fucking being crucified, she's on top of it.
Oh my God. Calm down.
No! All right, Xena, Gabrielle, and Amoris, minus her hat.
Yeah, hat's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. No.
They're at the docks, and they're going to see Eli, because they have heard that he's teaching in Athens.
Yeah.
Right?
Made his way to Greece.
Amoris would, of course, rather be kicking butts than seeing some preacher.
But then Xena explains that whatever Gabrielle wants, Gabrielle gets.
That was great.
Delight.
Yeah.
A delight.
Good luck.
Yeah,
That's as good as I surrender before Gabrielle. Not quite. It's not quite as good, but it's
really cute grins happening
Yeah.
So
after
cute.
that line. So Xena's asking the like captain of the ship when the next trip to Athens is, when suddenly there's a spear. She catches it, and then goons appear.
This was cool because I feel like maybe this was a good directing choice. I loved how quick this happened.
Yeah.
She's like in the middle of this very casual, like,
Yeah.
hey, are there any boats to Athens? And this spear comes and it's just like, bam, she's in the zone. She's fighting.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of guys right there, and her and Emery's, they start fighting the goons. No one is attacking Gabrielle, and she's just standing there, and... But Gabrielle helps Amory's, like, when she's down, getting the guy to fall into the water.
Yeah,
she,
she ropes
like,
the guy's feet,
Lasso, yeah.
chucks him into the water.
This is violent.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
sorry.
violent.
This is not just because you're
Have
not
you
like
noticed-
stabbing someone.
Have you noticed that, like, throughout her pacifism
She's
arc,
cheating.
she has been cheating a great deal?
Cheating non-stop. I can't even remember the last time she actually non-violenced at someone.
For Gabrielle, every day is cheat day.
But yeah, this guy has his legs tied up and he's thrown in the
What if he
water.
can't swim?
What if he
He's
can
gonna
swim?
fucking drown. That's like one more off
Yeah, his
on her
legs,
body
he can't
count.
even, like, they're all tied up.
That is
so.
not non-violent at all.
So Xena puts a pinch on a goon. Why are you attacking? And he says that there is a reward on Xena's head.
She's the 6 million dinar woman.
6 million dinars
That's
seems like
An
a
insane
really lot of
amount.
money.
Yeah. Does he even have that money? Because like, did he
I mean,
take?
I know he's most powerful.
But he didn't
Took
have
all of
money before. He
Pompey's
took
money.
all the. Okay.
Pompey had a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
guess
mean.
I don't know how much money Caesar had. For
Well,
real.
well, we
Let's
can,
get the tax
yeah.
returns. Let's get them, Caesar.
All of Rome money, I suppose.
How many boots can Doctor buy with 6 million dinars?
Like, so many boots. But also, it's like fake, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, but holy
it's real,
shit,
but
it's
it's
quite
fake.
a temptation, you know. Anyone is like gonna be.
Oh,
after,
yeah.
after
Amaris
him.
is like,
Yeah.
not me.
Thinking about it. I like that she used the T word. This is a big word this episode, temptation.
Yes,
So,
it really, truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Xena kind of has to make a choice here. She feels the time has come. The 6 million dinars is the last straw.
Right. What Amaris is like, I can't believe you're gonna be making peace with Caesar after this. And she's like, nope, I'm not. I'm gonna go and kill him.
What do you guys think about this? Finally, but also like, Xena, what happens when you try to kill Caesar?
Every time something
Real bad.
bad.
So my heart sank when she said that. I was like, oh God, don't do it.
Nah, I was
Don't
like, she's
do
gonna
it.
get him this time. That's it. She's gonna get him.
I don't, as someone who's been living in mortal fear of the prophecy,
Right.
this seems like a mistake. But at the
Yeah.
same time, if you've been living in mortal fear of the prophecy, you're like, the one way of truly averting it is to kill this man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Big time.
So just stab Caesar.
Just stab Caesar already.
And then also, her next thought is Gabrielle can't come because separating them when they're in the vision together
Yes.
is a step maybe in the right direction. And she's like, don't follow me.
I like that Gabrielle goes with this. She means it when she promises not to follow.
And I wonder, because they have great faces. Everybody's teary-eyed, and it's pretty wonderful. Except it's like, in terms of like just it being a scene where like maybe Xena's going off to get killed by it's not her plan, but like if she's going up against Caesar and all the armies, like maybe they're not going to see each other again. They're very casual about it, except for like the teary eyes. Like, you know what I mean? There's no big moment here.
Well,
Like,
there's a little bit.
it's-
There's a tiny bit. Like
It's it's small.
First, Gabs is like, Xena, one does not simply walk into Rome.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah. And
Can
Amaris,
I ask you maybe don't?
yeah, maybe don't do this. Which is great, because, I mean, Amaris is like, oh my god, I want to come because we're going to kill all these Romans, and I love stabbing. And then I loved when Gabrielle was like, literally, well, what if I ask you not to do this?
Yeah.
Like, that was a
It
little
was
move,
great.
like-
I mean, yeah, it's very, but she knows the answer.
what Gabrielle wants, Gabrielle gets.
No.
no.
But I I do love the maturity that they're demonstrating, like with their friendship, that Xena says, look, I have to do this. It's not personal.
Because he's an evil man. She's like, he's an evil man.
He's an evil man, all right? and Gabrielle's like, well,
Yeah.
I'd rather you didn't do this, but I accept this. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to lie and then follow you and get into trouble. Like, she accepts her friend's decision and makes part.
Well, because Xena goes, it's the way of the warrior.
Well, this is an important line. Like, I have to take him out or die trying. It's the way of the warrior. So they're both right here very explicitly still on their paths. And Gabrielle being removed from the situation, like, does she think in her head? Like, if she follows Xena, like,
how will the way of love?
Yeah. So in that capacity, like, she can keep the promise, whereas maybe other times she cannot.
If she were on the way of the warrior, she'd be like, no, like, my way is your way.
Right,
but
and we'll see that.
Yeah.
This is kind of a tangent right now in the sense that I just want to bring it up. But when you say the way of the warrior, and I know that it's something that they picked up in India, and it's certainly part of, ways of being within Hinduism that they learned. Like, there's, the warrior class and things like that. But I feel like when you say the phrase the way of the warrior, it's very much, and especially in the context with this show and the people that are writing it, I think of samurai. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't immediately ring to me as, like, what she learned in India. Like, if you, like, are Googling the way of the warrior, you're going to get, like, lots of stuff about, like, Bushido and stuff, right?
Put a pin in that.
That's really interesting.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's what, like, when people are writing this show to do. Like,
I'm sure they're thinking, well, I mean, they don't want this to be explicitly Hindu. At this point, it's become something personal to Xena. She's taking it out of one culture and making it hers. So I think that makes sense that now there are other associations already kind of bubbling away in our minds.
So Emery's comes up and she's like, hey, am I in your vision?
I loved this.
I
thought that was so funny.
I thought it was great. I thought it was really logical. And so Xena's like, no. So
I wanted her to be like, phew.
No, but she was like, great, so I'm coming. Because, like, if I'm not in the vision, this is totally fine. Also, I really love a little detail that her sword hilt has, like, the female symbol. That was really interesting.
She's an Amazon. It's
that made sense versus, like, Xena's tattoo.
This was, they weren't drawing your attention to it. It was just there. It's a cute little detail. I really like Emery's in this episode. I think she's used so well here. I feel like in many ways she's the one character who I could kind of sympathize with because she does not know what's going on. And she's just sort of, like, rolling her eyes at everything.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty great.
Like, when Xena's like, no, you can't come. You're going to have to stay here and protect Gabrielle. And she's like, I roll as her bodyguard.
Because she's already been asked to do this once in the previous episode.
But then she's like, no, as her friend. And
And she says there's a lot she could learn from Gabrielle, which is, I really wanted that arc where Amaris learns all this stuff from Gabrielle.
I know.
We never quite get it.
Yeah, no, we don't. So then Xena and Gabs part. There are faces, and they are good. But Katie thinks it's not enough.
I didn't say that. I said it's really small. I said it's like a quick. It's like it's a bye. Like, whoa.
On some level,
they might not see each other for a very long time. You don't know.
Yeah, they know they're going to. They've read the script.
Okay, so now we're in Rome. Caesar is at his desk and he's working. This all really reminded me of, like, Tywin Lannister. I guess
the
because
big desk.
The big desk, he's constantly, like, writing letters or whatever, opening scrolls. And honestly, like, I know this is not Tywin Lannister, but him asking for a reward on Xena's head and, like, getting random heads brought to him is Cersei asking for Tyrion's head.
That's right.
And getting random.
Xena did it first.
Yes. So he's working, and then a guy brings in a bag of head.
We always get a bag of head.
And he puts it down in front of him. And then he's like, there's Xena's head. And Caesar looks in there. No.
It's a dude.
No, it is not.
How does this guy think this is okay?
I think this guy doesn't have good reading comprehension. He read the thing and was like, all right, warrior named Xena. Fine.
Sure. And, well, it is not. So Caesar's like, kill him. And they drag the guy away, and my favorite line, take Xena with you.
That was a good delivery.
It's really good. Kyle's great this episode.
Kyle? Who's Kyle? I know.
Married to Nicole Kidman.
That's Keith. His name is Keith. I still don't know who Kyle is.
Kyle is not here. All right, so
He's the third Urban, the one you don't talk about.
so
Carl is great. Yeah.
Sorry,
it's really,
Carl.
really great.
We really love you, Carl.
But he's pissed. He's very pissed because this is like the 8th imposter head that he's been brought, and he's like, Xena will take out any mercenaries. This is so stupid. Why'd you have me do this? And Callisto's just there, and she's like, well, you have one more card to play. Chillax, baby.
She's stroking his wig, which
Yes.
is a nice touch.
This is where I started referring to her as Caprica 6.
Oh!
Yeah, this is a very Caprica move, and she's got the
Nice.
looks.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, and then she force feeds him grapes, which is kind of something that I feel like 6 would do.
Totally.
Guys.
It's so fun. I love
Guys, Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
See? It all fits.
Oh
Whoa.
my God, Xena really did it first.
Did it first. Again, really love Caesar's whole reaction to this being force-fed a grape. He's
Yeah.
so like, is this sexy? What's
No.
happening
Kinda
right
chokes on it.
now? Not feeling this.
All right, now we're at your part, Vera.
Oh God. All right. Oh, I'm so excited. So,
I'm glad.
Gabs and Amoris, they walk into this like clearing in a meadow.
So
whatever,
easy to find someone in all of Greece.
And there's like this clump of peeps hanging out in the middle of it. And she's like, it's him. It's Eli.
They're like going to a rock concert.
Yeah, basically. So they walk up there to join everyone, and there's a guy on a stretcher. He's being brought before Eli. And Eli starts healing him. All right, Gabrielle literally clutches herself. She basically grabs her crotch.
No, it's her stomach, but yes.
Oh my God, she is so turned on.
It's really intense. It's a very intense move. It's a choice.
This was a choice.
Yeah. I just sort of very quickly point out, whilst it does seem like his followers are very diverse, he is once again healing a person of color. And it's really this is so much white savioring everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like the closest extra to the screen has a turban as well. Like you're supposed to still think, oh, remember Eli from India?
And then
this
the
is what he
music
does.
as well.
Yes,
It's
yes,
still
yes.
the Indian
But there
music.
is one really attractive guy.
Oh, yeah?
He's not the one who makes the...
There's only
No,
one
he doesn't
attractive
make-
extra?
No, there's one that's really good.
Oh,
He kind of has like his hair half up.
okay.
He just looks good.
All right.
Okay, as long as he's not one of the acting Olympics.
He's not acting Olympics thing. But yeah, there's a lot of reaction shots to Eli
Yeah.
having healed this man.
But I do think it's great that he has a diverse following.
Yeah, I mean, that seems right. His message is universal. But yeah, why is it that whenever he's healing someone, that person is a person of color? It just feels slightly alarming at this point. Every episode he's been in.
So he has healed a guy who can't walk, and Amoris is just not impressed at all.
I love how she's hanging back like, ooh.
She's just like nothing
She's
moved
weirded
her.
out, I think.
Yeah?
I don't know that she's
I feel
not
like she was
impressed.
not-
She just she was very weirded out, it seemed to me, in the face area.
I
also
thought she
feel
was
like
being a skeptic.
This isn't
Oh,
Amazon.
yeah, that's part of it, sure.
She's from a matriarchal culture. She
Yeah,
comes to this
true.
rock concert where people are like worshiping this man. I feel
That's
like that
right.
would put her
Yeah.
off.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Meanwhile, Gabrielle has legit orgasmed.
I mean,
Whew. And then they hug, and oh my God.
the hands
hands just, like,
McHands everywhere.
They remain. They do not
They're so
part after this hug.
She just keeps caressing his wrist.
Uh-huh.
Just nonstop.
Which is on her neck. Her hand is on her neck.
It stays there.
Oh my God.
I highly recommend watching the video commentary of Lucy and Renee watching this because they are in fucking hysterics. It is great. And also we get the fun information that Renee and Tim were told to tone it down.
I mean, yes.
sexy.
Too sexy. Too
sexy.
sexy.
Too
I
sexy.
mean, they literally were like, get a room, please, Jesus. Jesus, yeah.
Get a room, Jesus.
I mean,
Yeah. So this
was
is
the
like,
implication that they were supposed to be more brotherly, sisterly,
which is absurd.
But also, I like this element. I think that adding this
I think it's
sexual
great.
element
This is boyfriend of the week,
interesting.
Eli, for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's really amazing. And he's like, "Where is Xena?" And Gabs literally goes, she has some work to do.
Yeah, well, you know, it's probably not cool to talk to this guy who does Way of Love and being like, yeah, my friend's just out murdering someone.
Off for
I just
murders.
like the Yeah. So Gabrielle introduces Emery's, and he tries to shake her hand, but she like backs off. That was really interesting.
I don't want to touch. Well, she's just
she
seen
didn't
him
wanna
heal someone with these hands,
That's
and
right.
also they've been all
over
Gabrielle.
Yeah,
So.
she's like, I don't want to be the sloppy seconds.
This is an important question that she just busts out with immediately.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, if your mother was being attacked, would you fight someone off? Like, I forget the exact phrasing of it. It's very important for the episode. I just find it fun how blunt she is with it.
Yeah, and it's very reminiscent of exactly what Gabrielle asked him about, you know, if someone pushed you down. Mm-hmm. So it shows that Amaris isn't that far removed from where Gabrielle was. You know,
well, she's heard, like, she knows everything
Right.
about this, Eli and the Pacifist Way, obviously from Gabs. So
Yeah.
it's not like this is the first time she's seeing it. This is the question
she's
that comes
asking
to her.
the same questions. I feel like that shows that there's maybe a part of her that could be swayed to this way.
Yeah, and he's like, LOL, I get asked this all the time. It's fine.
Let's
With some
go
philosophical differences. Yeah, why don't we have some fruit?
Yeah, let's go sexily eat some fruit now.
And apples, right?
Oh my god, they are like caressing and just smelling apples and pears and just passing it to each
An
other.
apple, a very loaded image as
Right,
well.
Yeah.
good point.
Gabrielle passes it to him?
Yeah, she really caresses it and sniffs it and then gives it to Eli.
Which that doesn't really make sense in
I
terms
don't
of
care.
because he doesn't do any. He doesn't fall off his path.
Nobody eats it, so do they eat it?
Eli definitely starts eating it.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry
She
if
is
I
a
keep
pear.
bringing up the commentary too much.
We
but
love
like,
it. We love it.
As member, we said that we watched The Last Temptation of Christ for. I think for the way it was really maybe for this one because this is it's gonna come up a bunch. But in the commentary, there is a joke Renee makes about this being the last temptation of Eli and their flirtiness. Like maybe Eli really is into Gabrielle and they could just go off together.
Maybe. I mean, I love me some sexy Jesus. I think it's an important aspect of the whole package, and I'm glad they're hitting these beats.
Right.
Vera's like, okay, move on.
I also feel like it's maybe important to whatever stage that he's in right now, and Eli is going to keep. We'll hear more from him in the prison and stuff, but he's very like it's 100% like a particular path of like 100% pacifism, and it's not quite exactly it's still being a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Like, and not just particularly preaching like Jesus specifically. No. There's a lot more going on, and it's just supposed to be the way of love is 100% pacifism to me right now in this moment.
And
he doesn't have cheat days.
Yeah, he does not have cheat days. And yeah, he kind of equates it with being totally passive in many ways. He's almost like doing non-action.
Right.
He hangs out in this meadow eating apples and healing
right.
people.
Which is different, yes.
Yeah.
Right, so Gabs asks him if he can teach her how to heal, and then he goes on to explain what he's doing technically.
He can't teach her how to heal, but he can teach her how to love. Because if you love with all your heart and soul, if you become love itself, then you can heal.
Yeah.
This is interesting. This is going to be interesting considering where the episode is going. But this
Selfless, pure love is the only expression of divine perfection we have in this world.
The greatest power we possess. Are there other ways of expressing divine and selfless love?
Interesting. What does the episode say? We'll find out.
So Amory's has like stopped barfing from all this talk long enough to go off and like eye roll.
Thanks.
She's the only one who's standing, by the way. She's like pacing around the group.
Everybody else is in the Garden of Eden, and she's like, that looks gross.
Amory's is so important here because really, and she'll keep doing it, she is there to like undercut I don't want to call it, I don't know what exactly to call it because like I think that everything that he's saying is important, but you do need to have someone kind of
She's the devil's advocate.
eye roll and be like, I don't know about this.
This goes with the whole idea of multiplicity of meaning. Like,
yes, exactly.
The episode isn't saying Eli is right. The episode is saying this is what Eli believes. Gabs is really into it. Amaris thinks it's dumb, but she's also kind of curious. Mm-hmm. You know, she's interested. So I think looking at the way the characters react to this just kind of gives you more information. It's not telling you who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
Well, she thinks that the greatest power is, of course, at the end of the sword. She likes pointy things.
This is a reference to what Xena said to her in Endgame. So I liked the callback, and that it immediately, once again, kind of turns on her.
Yeah, because a bunch of swords
Point of her.
Yep.
She's
From the bushes.
at the end of a whole bunch of actual swords.
So suddenly there are Romans, and Brutus is there. So Gabrielle is surrounded by all her boyfriends.
Oh my god, it's true.
It's crazy. There's
So
a
many
shot where,
boyfriends.
like...
These are her best boyfriends.
Yeah, Brutus, like, steps by, like, he walks past Eli, and I was like, oh my god, all the boyfriends are, like, right there. Who's gonna out-boyfriend each other?
Who's
for
getting
Gabs?
the rose?
Yeah, exactly.
Brutus explains that he is serving Caesar again. He has been ordered to take Gabrielle, Eli, and his friends prisoner, and this is a way of protecting Caesar from Xena.
And, of course, Gabrielle is disappointed, but Bruce is like, Caesar's promised me no one will be hurt. Of course we believe him.
Of
right?
course we believe him. I can't believe I never quite put this together. I kept saying in Endgame that, you know, Brutus and Gabrielle have a lot in common. You know, they both have this sort of naive belief. But it never occurred to me that, you know, Brutus to Caesar equals Gabrielle to Xena. Mm-hmm. That they both look up to this person. Like, I feel like Brutus is still trapped in, like, season 2 era Gabs. Like, he just can't really see this person.
His rift arc is going to be
his
huge.
rift arc is huge.
It's a big one. Yeah. Really fast.
Brutus exemplifies
Furious.
the danger of putting someone on a pedestal. Like, he just cannot see the real man anymore. Like, he's just so got the, like, drunk goggles for Caesar. So I really love, actually, that is how these two characters, Brutus and Gabs, interact. They both, like, Gabs kind of can look at him and be like, oh, honey, like, I've been there. Like, you poor thing.
So in Caesar's palace, we have Caesar marching into his chambers. He's like reading a scroll. He walks by the guards posted at his door, doesn't notice anything, like how one of them is Xena.
She looks so pretty. I love whenever she wears the Roman gear.
Oh, well, I mean,
Xena,
yeah.
Roman, anything.
Like, well, all right. So she still has like she has the hat on right now.
You're not into the hat?
But
I love her face, like, underneath that hat.
I mentioned
I
that
love-
these helmets are very bad.
very plastic.
Like,
yeah.
they're cost
Paper mache.
$1.
Yeah.
Brutus's was, like, flopping around in the last scene, and we have to, like, not look at it.
It's the end of the season. They've run out of money for helmets.
So, I mean, I love her in the Roman gear as well. I agree with you. I love how she saluted him. Like, it just all looked so good. I don't know. So he's in his bedchamber, and he is he's like practicing wearing his crown.
It's true that's hard. You know, you got to get it just right.
Yeah.
And you can't have any flyaways. This is a tricky move. I'm glad he's preparing.
So Xena, like, sees all this, and she's like, all right. And then she's like, okay, let's get this party going. And she headbutts the other guard with a line.
And says,
At ease.
Oh, it's so bad.
That one's fine. I accept
She
it.
didn't need to do
I accept
anything.
Eddie's.
All right,
I like it.
fine.
Caesar's right there. Caesar should
Yeah.
be like, did I just hear a line?
And a helmet bonk.
Hello, Xena.
Xena dumps that guy, like, around the corner, and then, like, an entire kind of, like, troop of guards walks by, doesn't notice that there's a, guy unconscious right there. And then, I love this. She's like, all right, let's make this short and sweet.
Yeah, she just wants it done.
And this is what I've been wanting from her,
So
like,
good.
this whole show.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Kill it.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, so she takes out her chakram and lets it rip. So it's going right at
Could
Caesar.
she not have thrown it straight out of
I
his
know,
hand?
right?
Why? That's not how the chakram works.
Yeah.
It's indirect. That's how it has its powers.
Always? Does it always have to be indirect? She could just throw it at his head.
Xena plays, like, the weirdest, like, ultimate frisbee.
It, like, hits. I mean, I love whenever they do that. It hits all the fun things in the room.
Did it hit, like, actual...
the bus.
Yeah, the bust of, like, real Caesar or something.
Oh, is that who that was supposed to be?
I'm
It was a
assuming.
fugly old dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming Caesar is. Not Kyle Urban. So it's going straight at his face, and, like, literally it is gonna hit his face, like, as if it's a little melon. And no, it's caught right before it hits its mark by Callisto.
Brings back old memories. Because that's all they do. interrupt chakrams in front
Chakram
of
at
each other.
When did she first do it? It was like the first scene together, right?
Yeah.
And
you want those great shots through the
chakram,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
the two different ones.
Right, and of course we had that amazing moment in Callisto where she addresses her lines to the chakram and caresses it, and you understood that it's
Kisses it.
Yeah, it's her
Yeah.
way of being close to Xena.
What is it when she's like spinning it on her finger?
I don't know what that move is. Yeah. Well, it's kind of exerting her dominance over Xena. Yeah.
Yeah, she got her toy.
She keeps it.
She does. So Caesar screams for the guards to come. They come and they attack Xena. One of them immediately knocks the helmet off her head. And this is where, yeah, exactly. I think it's mainly to be like, we
reason.
know who Xena is in a shot. Also, she looks so good.
Guys, her fucking hair in this episode
It's so
is
beautiful.
maybe my favorite Xena hair ever.
It's so
big
long.
and voluminous and long.
Yeah.
And the two side braids. I love a side braid. It's just perfect. The bangs are perfect. The length is perfect. The volume is perfect.
It's really hot, and I think what really like adds to the hotness, at least for me, is the fact that it's going over this like men's Roman outfit.
It reminded me how much I love when female warriors don't have gendered armor.
Like Xena's real armor.
I think she honestly looks so gorgeous, like in the men's costume, like
that
with
would
her
be
long, beautiful hair. I feel
gendered
like,
in
but,
a sense.
Well, but I mean,
You just mean
like
not in
she
a
doesn't
skirt.
need to have like a skirt and like something molded over her boobs so that you see she has boobs. You know,
Sure.
Like that's the part where I'm like, why do we need to do this?
Sure.
Why
So
are
you
we
prefer
still...
a Brienne of Tarth?
I do. Or speaking
armor.
of Brienne,
Just practical
also
armor.
Phasma.
The idea
Yes.
of
armor.
Right.
The idea of
So you prefer just Gwendolyn Christie?
Your breastplate doesn't need to show off your breasts.
I feel like the idea of practical armor for female fighters is a good
Reasonable
Yes.
request.
Yes.
But I honestly think people don't appreciate how hot it looks. It looks hot here.
one. I mean, this is a good one, and it's
like a giant
well, this
shirt.
one isn't
beautiful
even meant to
baggy
look.
shirt.
I feel like it's not even meant
Yeah.
to look. It's just actually meant to be
Yes.
practical, which
Yes.
is different than even say like the Roman outfit that she wears later in later
Yeah,
seasons,
that's hot
which
too,
is
for
like
different
my
reasons.
favorite
I mean,
outfit
that
that
is the
she's
greatest.
ever wears.
Yes, the greatest one, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
but
Can
yeah, I
we,
know
for a
she-
second, talk about how Brutus's armor has like a design that's like some kind of vine or leaves that like circle the nipples?
Oh my god, I didn't
not
notice.
Yeah,
that.
that's Brutus. Caesar doesn't have anything like that.
So like
at
nipples
all.
on the bat suit.
Yeah,
of a
but
thing.
like it's going around like where the nipples should be. I don't think that there are actual
All right,
nipples.
that's good. I
but
like this.
that is-
The men should have
yeah,
more
Brutus has
objectifying
that,
battle
yes,
costumes. Yes, please.
So they fight in Caesar's bedchamber there, Xena and all these guards. She like breaks a guy's leg, like she takes out a bunch of guards. Caesar is just standing there looking. Callisto is just standing there looking. And then Xena jumps out the window. She flips out into the courtyard. And Caesar
This
does.
is when the hair's on fire. Sorry, it's so good.
Caesar does like an SMH.
I know.
Head.
He knew that was
Like-
going to happen. I also love that through this whole fight, talk about non-action. He is standing behind his desk just staring the whole time. You literally see him in every shot just like kind of with his mouth open going, ugh.
Yeah. Outside, Xena, yes, she looks incredible. The daylight really adds to her look with the men's Roman guard outfit. She's trying to escape. Because she's like, well, that failed, so I got to
I'm stuck in the middle of Rome.
Yeah, exactly.
And I tried to kill Caesar.
She rounds the corner, and there's Callisto. And she's standing there twirling the chakram, like, on her fingertip, like she's from the Harlem Globetrotters, you know?
It's real cheeky and amazing.
Yeah.
She does, I feel like her physicality here, she kind of leaps out. She's a little bit elfin. It reminded me a bit of what she was doing in Bittersweet. You know, kind of skipping around.
Yeah.
And
she does
she-
moves.
Yeah.
Can do crazy moves because of her. I don't know what are we calling her form
Yeah.
in this. Like she can't be injured. Xena
She's,
can't.
non-corporeal-ish.
Yeah, she has powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xena tries to, like, get her with a sword. It, like, bounces off her head. She stops it with her finger and goes right through her and she can run really fast.
That's a pretty good effect. It doesn't exactly look good, but I feel like the way Xena reacts to it makes it good.
But I like Callisto's lines of like, don't bother, you've already done all the damage you can to me.
Oh, see, that was sad. I love these moments where you once again see Callisto as a victim, but she's using it to taunt Xena. Ah, no character can quite pull off that mix.
And the way she says it all the time is so good. Like earlier, at the very first scene, even when she's like listing off all the things that Xena did to her, and I love the way that she's like, she cooks my family.
Yeah, just tosses
she just
that
cooks them up.
Yeah.
This girl, I love her. I'm so sad that we're basically at the end of her run now, almost.
She'd like kind of thanked Xena for, you know, giving Oblivion a good try for her.
Yeah, well, they ended pretty well. You know,
Yeah.
she thanked her. She got a last boob grab for the road.
Yes.
So now she's back and she's not even getting a boob grab. So it didn't take, so now she's kind of resentful again. Like, oh, like, you had one job, Xena, and you failed. You failed me again. I mean, that's kind of where she's at.
Yeah.
Like, she asked for something. Xena tried to deliver and couldn't. And once again...
But then she goes, it's like they wouldn't let her off the hook.
Yeah.
Who's they?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who the fuck is they?
Whoever it is who does the final judging. She says that they sent her to a place that makes Tartarus look like Elysian Fields, not like a day at the beach.
And then actually says they call it hell.
This makes me so sad that poor Callisto, we've kind of tracked her through these different planes of existence, and each one sucks. Wherever this woman is, it sucks. Like, I really feel like she's a prisoner. She was a prisoner when she was alive. She was a prisoner when she was in Tartarus. She was a prisoner when she was a god. She's a prisoner here in hell. And I feel
of it
for
is
her.
because of Xena.
She's just very trapped. Yeah.
Yeah, so then she kind of like, you know, says the plot, which is that her bosses down there think that Caesar is going to be really valuable to them, and that Xena is an obstacle. And she's like, Xena says she's not the only obstacle because plenty of people will oppose Caesar being emperor, because she immediately like guesses what it is.
I love that Callisto is so impressed by this, that Xena has figured out just from seeing Caesar modeling his laurel wreath. Hence, she gets not only that he's emperor, but that he's likely to announce it on the Ides of March when the Senate reconvenes. So I was like,
got it all down.
She like picked up a calendar.
Yeah. She
like,
knows when the
was
fucking
in Rome.
Senate is reconvening
Just, like, was like,
in fucking Rome.
What are some important Rome dates? Callisto points out that, people are going to be upset, but even someone like the Honorable Brutus has a price.
Yeah.
And Caesar's going to make him happy by giving him Gaul.
Yep, that should
will
keep him smiling.
Rule Gaul.
And Callisto has an offer for Xena. She tells her that Gabrielle is in Roman hands right now, and that Mephistopheles has shown her season 4. So she knows
I sat
about
there
the
and
vision.
I watched the whole thing. They made me watch Key to the Kingdom 30 times. It was horrible.
She knows about India and Eli. Xena does not want to hear any of it because she's been through it too.
I do love that Xena first is like, you lie. And then she drops these buzzwords, India and Eli, and Xena's like, oh shit. I felt like the subtext there was vision. She doesn't say it, but that's what Xena was like, you know about that, and you're going to make that happen. Great.
Right.
Oh, great.
Right, but she, like, throughout this whole thing, she kind of, like, listens and sort of believes, but then still can't let herself fully do what Callisto wants or, like, listen to her for real. So she's, like, get lost, and she, like, walks past
And
her.
I love it whenever she talks to Callisto, she's kind of doing her sneer, that kind of resting bitch face that Xena has, where just, like, the teeth are out, and she's just like, I don't know what you're saying, but I don't like it.
So Gabrielle and the pacifists are taken to a Roman prison in the Apennines.
Which is, they're in Italy now. How'd they get to Italy?
Don't ask these questions.
on a boat.
Yes.
Brutus's company took them to Italy.
Yes.
All right. Fine. Well, no, this makes it better for me, because when you have Xena riding off to save Gabs, like, she's just riding up Italy. That's okay. That's not a long ride.
It's a montage, so it is a long ride.
It's a long ride, but it's not like getting on a boat and going to another country.
Sure. There's a dusting of snow on the ground, important. There's a bunch of crosses with, like, crucified people lining the road. Gabrielle looks up at this sight and is like, this is a little bit familiar.
This is, yeah, I've seen that vision. Uh-oh.
And then once they enter inside the prison walls, there's crosses being built.
Brutus is so surprised.
Yeah, Brutus is really surprised.
What a sweet, delicate little person Brutus is. Oh no, the standard Roman way of punishing prisoners is happening here in this prison.
Yeah.
Gasp.
He brings these guys into the jail and then asks the jailer who the crosses are for, and the guy's like, a boatload of pirates.
Whoa, you guys, sorry, I'm just looking at a map. I know this is like back to what we were just saying, and they really should have taken a boat.
Well, they might have. We just didn't see it.
We just didn't see it.
Xena should have taken a boat.
She did not.
Yeah.
Look at this. No, people can't see it, but if you just want to Google
Maps that
where
shit.
Mount Amaro and where all that business in Greece, it's like really far.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Geography,
not a short horse ride.
Geography is not a problem.
No, it's the least of our concerns.
Emery's takes this moment to try to make a move. She grabs a Roman soldier's sword, and of course she can't make them escape.
She's surrounded by pacifists.
Yeah,
and Romans.
So the Romans overpower her.
A pacifist who throws her body on top of Emery's, like she did.
This is good pacifism.
In Hooves and Harlots. And always doing stuff like
that. The Steve Rogers move. Mm-hmm. It's really sweet, and I love that. Yeah, the soldier's still going to go in for the kill, even with Gabrielle there, and Brutus is immediately like, "Hard eyes, no,
don't harm
Gabrielle. I'm her boyfriend."
Yeah, that's because, and then Gabrielle's like, "Of course not when I'm useful to you," and he's like, "No, that's not."
I loved her delivery there.
Yeah,
I loved how that was her twisting a knife. Like, it was so it's kind of
see his love.
It's a piece of exposition, that line, but she turns it into a real character moment. It was great.
Yeah. So she wants him to pardon Emery's, and he's like, "Well, I can't because she attacked one of my soldiers." And she's like, "I remember when mercy was shown to you
back in Endgame, one episode ago."
Hey, thankfully we didn't get a flashback.
Yeah, I mean, this episode is actually, it has lots of callbacks, but it doesn't tell you too much. One thing I'm really grateful it never spelled out is Gabrielle putting 2 and 2 together that this is the vision.
Right. Well, I think you get that from when she looks at the crosses.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's there in her performance. It's there in the way she will later reassure Amaris that Xena's coming for them. Mm-hmm. She has that vision on her mind. So, and I think that's really subtle and good storytelling.
As they're walking up that road, also she's like doing shivering acting. Like she's like cold. She's the only one
wearing hardly any clothes. She should be doing that all the time.
Listen,
put a pin in it. That's a story for later.
All right, so Brutus pardons her, and I really like that throughout this whole scene, obviously, while it's happening, you can hear the sound effects of the crosses outside being built. It's really loud.
Really great.
Loud. Yeah.
Great choice. I love that Brutus orders Amaris to be tied to Eli.
Yeah.
And her response is, "Oh, can't you just break my legs?"
She's sassy. So, everyone's shoved into the cell, tied up, and then as Brutus is closing the door, Gabrielle comes up and she whispers to Brutus that...
patented soft voice.
Yes. If he really thinks that the crosses are for a boatload of pirates. And he's like, "Well, Caesar's never lied to me." And she goes, "There's a first time for everything."
Oh.
Yep.
Yes, I lied.
So Xena is riding on a random horse, like a poor unfortunate horse number 2.
Maybe she did get a boat then. Maybe she left...
It's a
and
black
then got
horse,
another
so
horse.
yeah, she's really like taking this horse to town.
I really hope she took the most direct route.
We have a huge montage of her riding through all sorts of terrain. One of them kind of reminded me of the opening, like that, area, weird creek,
rough, ground.
And then we have the music cue of
Xena!
You know it's serious.
This is maybe only the second time we've heard it.
Right, the first time for Berserker.
Yeah. Ugh. So this is better. A better version of the cue.
Way better. Yeah, so I just love it. I love when this music is cheering, or like it's like
get
rooting
there,
for her.
get
like,
there in time. Xena.
Come on, we believe in you.
Xena, get there in time. That's what it's doing. Yes.
All right,
excellent.
Nature's calling, and Brutus got his dick out.
I love this.
Yeah.
That must mean it's good.
It's good. Yeah, he's taking a leak, and then there's Xena. She's like, "Sup, Brutus? How's it hanging?"
I wish she'd said that. She says Ave Brutus, which totally confused the Hulu.
And me.
The Hulu just gave up in its closed captions. It was just like, that's inaudible. It's like,
it's
no.
inaudible in the transcript as well on the internet.
Transcript doesn't speak Latin.
So it's Ave.
Yeah, so
that's Greek to it.
It's Greek?
No, it's Latin.
Okay.
But Vera was not wrong. It was basically sup, Brutus.
Sup.
She's offering him a deal. So in exchange for Gabrielle's location, she'll offer him some info that will save his stinking life.
I love that Brutus, just as Xena speaks to him, is just staring.
He's
just like, whoa.
Yeah.
He's really caught off guard.
Yep. And he's very exposed.
She looked. Did we mention her looking?
Yeah, she looked.
I didn't notice that. Oh, I gotta go back.
She had to. Come on.
Go, Xena, go.
She had a face. She's like, all right, because he won't take her up on the offer, doesn't believe that she'll say anything. So she's like, okay, I'll go first, and then...
That's how much I trust you.
Yeah, and he's like, really? And she's like, yeah, you're the honorable Brutus.
Which is what Callisto had called him. And it's interesting that Xena says, everyone says that Brutus is an honorable man. Everyone meaning Callisto, my demon friend. But this is the first of our several Shakespeare references. This is one of the lines that Mark Antony, put a pin in it, says in his eulogy for Caesar. Which is interesting because when he says it, he actually doesn't mean it. So there's like a level of irony here that Xena is calling Brutus honorable. It makes you wonder if she really thinks he is.
So she goes, beware the Ides of March, Brutus, because on that day Caesar will declare himself emperor.
Beware the Ides of March, another Shakespeare reference.
Of course. Brutus doesn't believe it. He's like, the fuck, why? And she goes, greed, lust for power, and ego the size of the Aegean.
And she tells him this. She tells him that Caesar is plotting to kill Brutus.
Right.
That she has first-hand knowledge that he's been talking to assassins in Gaul. Here's my question for you guys. Does she?
No, she did.
Is lying.
Like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, so she's a smart lady. Like, she got the fact that he was going to announce this at the Ides of March.
Yeah.
And based on him putting on a little hat on.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
This is her being like, I can totally play Brutus this way. And so she knows that he's going to be sent to Gaul. And she's like, probably he will kill him eventually. So why don't I just start the...
Give him advance warning before he even can be ordered to be killed.
Exactly.
She's like, you're probably going to be killed. In fact, I have first-hand knowledge.
Exactly. So, like, why don't I just incept you with this idea right here,
this
right now?
This is very sneaky. I love how well she plays him. She played him great in Endgame. She plays him again here. There's something a little sad about it because at this point we do care about this character. He is nice in his way, but Xena is willing to lie to him if it gets him where she needs him to be.
So Brutus is very, like, freaked out, but yet, kind of into Xena, just being there, staring at him.
And he does believe her.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. I mean, he needs to confirm the information, but he buys this.
Yeah, and she said that Caesar can't kill him in Rome because he has too much support there, which I guess is how he gets a conspiracy going in, like, 2 hours.
Right. Oh, yeah. People like that honorable Brutus. Everyone says Brutus is an honorable man. I like her line, Gabrielle saved your life once. Give me a chance to save hers. That's all she wants, a chance. I feel like that's a good way of getting something out of Brutus. I'm not saying you're going to do anything for me. Just give me the option.
Right. So after some urging, Brutus finally tells her where Gabrielle is. She's in a prison compound at the foot of Mount Amaro.
That freaks Xena out.
Of course. And then she turns to leave, and then she's like, let me just ask one more question.
I love how her voice changes here. Up till now, she's had the swagger, but here you just get, like, you know, you get that hint of vulnerability. She's nervous.
And she turns and says, hey, Brutus, was it snowing when you left Mount Amaro? And he's like, yep. And she's like, fuck, it's the vision.
And Brutus is like, wow, that woman really doesn't like snow.
Can I put my dick away?
The whole scene, because at
yeah.
the end of the scene, then he does.
He
That's
fixes himself.
crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, vision.
Yeah, so we have a really great dissolve from Xena's face to the shot of her being put down on the cross that you see from the shield, the reflection of the shield,
This
which
is
we haven't seen.
TJ's
We haven't
shot.
seen that. I mean, we've seen a lot of TJ shots, but we haven't seen that in a while.
That's
and
true.
I missed that part of it. Big
And
time.
this part is important because it's reminding you, oh yeah, she needed to be dragged onto the cross.
Oh, you really think that?
I think so. We haven't seen that little connecting section.
You're just
Usually she's
putting
just
her
on the
down.
cross. Yeah, but she's being dragged.
She's just putting put. Her butt is already on the cross.
No, when it's in the shield, she's up and being pulled backward.
Because her butt's sitting on it. They're putting her down.
All right,
That's what I thought.
let's go to the tape.
But I like what you say. She wouldn't know that. Like, and we wouldn't know that. I never jumped
I
to that
remember the
conclusion.
very first time I saw this being so shocked by the spoiler alert backbreaking because when you go back and look at the vision you see why is she so helpless? Why isn't she fighting? She's not tied up. So I feel like they provide an answer to that question you didn't know you were supposed to ask.
That's interesting. I never thought of it. I thought it was just supposed to be like she was, overpowered. Like it was done. Like Gabrielle's already
if you're
on
in
there.
this point,
exactly.
You're through.
But they give you a reason because Xena would fight to the end.
Okay. Cool.
That makes sense.
I have to point out that this is the very, very last time we see anything directed by T.J. Scott.
No.
Bye, T.J. Goodbye.
All right, so in the jail cell, Gabrielle is super happy because she, quote, finally did it. What did she do? She did nothing.
You sound like you have an Avery's opinion about this. You two are sitting like a couple of bumps on a log. What could you have done?
Yeah, this is the speech when Eli is talking about being like completely empty to then fill yourself with love, to like be
Love.
I think that it is like the stuff that he's talking about. Gabrielle does say that, she did it. She has had some success here in this situation. But this is the scene where he's really talking about some very high concept stuff that if he is who he says he is, I feel like is maybe achievable for him, but like much more difficult for the average Gabrielle or the average human, which is why I like Anne-Maurice's attitude here, because it's very difficult, the stuff that
it just sounds very abstract, right?
Yes, it's very abstract. Yeah, it's very abstract concept. He's talking about God, he's talking about the divine aspects of all this stuff, and I just think it's very difficult. It's hard. This is hard stuff to achieve.
And it reminded me in kind of a scary way of Aiden, this idea of achieving a state of emptiness so that you're ready to be filled by something else. That made me scared. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to be empty. There's, this language that sounds so heightened and beautiful has this slightly scary nihilistic undertone.
Interesting, yeah. Well, she's ready to be filled with love. And Emery says, just in time, too, you'll be able to love the people who crucify us.
I love that
Great line.
Yeah, which is what Jesus does. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Right. So Xena gets to the prison, and she's kind of overlooking and trying to figure out how to get in. She's seeing that the Romans are unloading all the dead bodies from the crosses, outside the prison. And then there's Callisto. She's in her way again.
I just keep coming back. In that way, I'm more dependable than your chakram. Har, har, har. Which she's holding.
Yeah.
This was good, reminding us that she has it. This just feels like a line, har, 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 but it's a line that is reminding us of a very important detail in this episode.
Yeah. She's there to offer her lord's deal that he will save Xena and her friends if Xena puts down her sword and joins the pacifists in fulfilling a life of loving kindness.
This is the Last Temptation of Xena.
It is.
We just had a scene of Gabrielle on the way of love. Mm-hmm. She did it She did nothing.
Right.
Then we cut to her way being used as the gateway to evil for Xena.
Yeah.
If Xena embraces Eli's path, she is doing the Dark Lord's bidding. How about that?
Doing the Dark Lord's bidding, but like, yeah, getting something that like she wants, which Callisto is telling her is serenity.
Xena wants the Firefly box set, not just Serenity.
Well, I want to kind of explain we keep mentioning The Last Temptation of Christ, the movie based on a book called The Last Temptation or The Temptation?
Probably The Last Temptation.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a book and a movie.
It's
But,
a
like,
novelization. No, it's not.
It was very controversial when it came to Martin Scorsese movie. There is a sequence in it where Jesus, as played by Willem Dafoe, throughout the movie is being tempted by fiery flame Satan and or snake Satan. The last one is the actual promise of a normal life. And you see a whole sequence where he like marries Mary, has children. Obviously, this is very controversial in terms of like Jesus like would be married and having sex with someone and having children and all this stuff. But this idea that this kind of like idyllic normal life with like family is a temptation. And Callisto is promising here Xena a peaceful life with Gabrielle. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
That she says no because it's not her way, as she says again.
Do you guys feel weird about that? Her rejecting that?
It's
Rejecting a life,
interesting,
peaceful
right?
life with Gabrielle?
Well, I mean, but Xena knows that this is Callisto talking and literally saying, you know, my dark lord from hell is promising you this. You can get rid of all this guilt. And no, don't you want to get rid of all this guilt?
Yeah, the part that I feel like if she maybe had just stopped at you can live happily ever after with Gabrielle, like peaceful, love and kindness, etc., maybe Xena would have thought about that for a moment. But the fact that Callisto continues and says, there's a reason you can't allow you and your partner, I thought that was interesting, your partner, peace. It's your guilt. It motivates everything you do. It torments you. Invite me into your soul.
I
can purge you of that guilt. I can cleanse you of that shame that drives you. I can give you peace. Well, peace sounds great. But if it comes via Callisto entering her soul and purging her, that sounds really bad.
Yeah, not so great.
And in fact, that sounds like a shorthand of saying, you know, you will go back to the way you were before you felt guilt. You will go back to Warlord Xena. That is what she's saying. A person who doesn't feel guilt is an evil person.
Well, and then Xena has an interesting response where she says she has put all her guilt behind her.
She's an evil person.
And that
I don't think so. I accept that for this episode, which is a culmination of so many seasons of television for Xena, I like the sentiment, but obviously, like, she hasn't put her past behind her. Like, maybe
it's crazy to
she's
say
found
that
a way
too.
to deal
Do you
with it.
have the rest of the line there? Because, like, she has a line here about the way of the warrior and her way. And I don't have it written down.
Here's what I have. I put it all behind me. I have to be the best warrior I can be. To redeem myself, I have to fight evil with a sword, and that's what I'm going to do no matter the consequences.
Okay.
So that's what she says. She doesn't say, like, I'm good now, I've solved it.
I've solved it. She does have, there are instances in the show, like a few that people I think that you can point to, where she does say, like, I don't feel guilty anymore. That's behind me.
But it's weird saying that to Callisto. Which is a thing that she would never...
The personification of her guilt.
Yeah. Like, and I just, like, there's one thing between, like, saying it and, like, trying to forge a particular path and actually, like, it being true.
She also will later in this episode apologize for all the time she didn't treat Gabrielle right. Which is, like, one of the many things to feel guilty about. So, I think these things are still weighing on her mind. I think RJ dealt with this moment when asked about it by saying what she means is she's put her guilt about Callisto behind her, because in her mind, Callisto at this point has given as good as she got. Like, that's why she doesn't feel guilty about Callisto anymore. Because Callisto has done enough shit that now, like, Xena isn't responsible for her. Which
right, but like that
isn't true.
Yeah, it doesn't negate it. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I feel like she just says it as a way of annoying Callisto, and
right.
it works.
Yeah, because Callisto barks. Yeah,
she barks with anger. I mean, yeah, I definitely understand why Xena rejects this offer. In the end, it doesn't sound that good, and it's coming from a very untrustworthy source. In some ways, I wish it had been a slightly more tempting vision of the future. I wish we'd almost had that sequence. The
montage.
I would love
from
the montage.
Last Temptation of Christ. Yeah, you see so you see Willem Dafoe living out the life. They just throw in a 10-minute montage of Xena and Gabrielle's idyllic
married life.
Of peace, putting down the swords. And it's interesting though because these are some of the most difficult topics, and it's like the entire show because it would be great for them to stop murdering people and being violent.
Nothing says they have to keep doing this. I mean, especially once we've removed the threat of Caesar from the equation, they could probably put their feet up.
Yeah, but she
has to do it to be reincarnated.
And that's the thing. She doesn't. It's not even because she wants to be reincarnated. She has to do it because she just does it. That's what she does. Mm-hmm. I feel like, and she's always felt guilty about that. She's always felt guilty about the fact that she's a violent person, and I think maybe that's the guilt she's been able to put behind her. The very fact that this is something she needs to be who she is. She's accepted who she is. I don't think she's necessarily put the guilt of all the people she's murdered behind her.
Right.
But I think that particular strain of self-loathing is maybe she's turning over that leaf.
Yeah.
She's able to embrace the fact that she is a warrior, she's a hero, and these aren't things to feel shame
and
about.
And has been shown that it's okay in the India arc. Yeah.
Back in Rome, Brutus and Caesar bro hug. Brutus is like, hey, Caesar, there's some crosses. They're being built for crucifixion.
What's up with that?
What's up? Yeah. Are you going to crucify Gabs? And Caesar's like, no, bro. Not just Gabs. All
everybody!
Of them.
and Brutus is like, but bro, you promised me you were just gonna use Gabrielle to distract Xena. And Caesar's like, yeah, I'm gonna distract her by killing her best friend. Super distracting.
Especially tomorrow, because that's when I need it most.
What's tomorrow, Caesar? He's going to make an announcement.
Yep.
An announcement that will change history. He's becoming so bombastic. I love it.
Yeah. And then Caesar's like, hey, Brutus, after that, I want you to take one of the legions and march into Gaul. And he's like, what?
I love David Franklin in this scene.
Yeah.
Because he gets it really quickly. So everything Caesar says, he's always like, why Gaul? What happens on the Ides of March? Why that? Oh. He got it.
Yeah, the way it makes Caesar look stupid. That this guy is clearly like, I'm not about to kill you or anything, Caesar. But Caesar's just like, no, you just go there. It's a surprise. You're gonna love it.
Trust me, bruh.
My favorite little detail is that he says sup to Mark Antony at the end of the scene.
Mark Antony.
What's up? Hello. Are you going to be important later? Oh.
Do you like Natalie Merchant?
I hope you do.
Put a pin in it.
All right, so Emery's is starting to have a really hard time with the prospect of being crucified. Thought she would die in battle. And she's like, will Xena make it in time? Because she's really hoping that Xena... they're all waiting for Xena. Yeah. And then Gabrielle turns to camera and says, she'll be here.
And that's when you realize that, she knows how this is going to work out because she's seen it.
Yeah,
so she's both rooting for Xena to appear and maybe praying with all her heart that she never does.
Exactly. Xena does sneak inside the prison compound on a wagon full of the dead bodies.
This was a cool shot.
It was really good. So she's in the all these feet and body parts are there. Yeah. And then there's Callisto, also in that wagon. She holds up.
This was really freaky, I thought. The way she's just sort of draped there at like this odd angle.
And she's holding up her bloody palm.
Yeah, because she's one of the crucified bodies. This is really the only time where she kind of appears in a context where she's like, I'm one of the bodies. The other time she's just like, I'm here.
Right. So she's like, all right, let's just keep this brave. I keep the vision from coming true, and you leave Caesar alone.
New deal.
Yep. And Xena ignores her, goes about her business, and gets into the prison.
This is a great shot. This is all in a single shot. You see Xena sneaking through the courtyard, through a door, and then the camera turns, and you see Callisto in this awesome close-up, like, watching this happen. She says, like, okay, Xena, you had your choice. And then let's loose this pitch-perfect war cry. The Xena war cry. It sounds much better than mine. Like, we've never seen her do this. And I loved it. I loved that she becomes Xena in this way, in this moment. She has the chakram. She does the war cry.
Right. Well, I mean, she has powers. So the power is to imitate Xena right there.
But that feels like something, that's a power that Callisto has always had, in a way. The power to imitate
True,
Xena.
you're right.
But here she
but
can
never
now
that way,
do it perfectly. And I just love that that's how she gets Xena here, by just being Xena.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for the character.
So the guards are alerted and they're like, it's Xena!
She's
Find
here!
her!
Oh no! Sound the alarm!
They start running around. And Xena busts into the jail, and Gabrielle is delighted.
Oh my god, that's, putting it small.
Oh my gosh.
She's, like, have we ever seen her quite this gleeful?
This was a great moment.
Says Xena.
Yeah. And then they hug. Like, that's the first thing they do.
I gotta be honest, I wanted her to be a little more disappointed.
Oh, because
the vision.
That,
Nah, because it makes sense. Because like, what overpowers anything for her is her love for Xena.
Yeah, she's so happy to see Xena.
Or I guess the way of friendship.
They can wriggle out of that prophecy together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Xena's like, Gabrielle, the vision's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah. All right. That's right. All right. So
come on, Eli. Let's go.
Get up.
So she frees everyone, and they like make a break for it.
Oh shit.
Yep. Here we go.
Here we go. Buckle your seatbelts.
So outside in the prison yard,
Hold on to your butt.
Hold on to your butts.
The guards attack. Xena and Emery start fighting them. They clear a path, and Gabrielle starts, like, leading the pacifists out. She's like, go to the woods, head for the woods.
This is very old school Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Gabrielle would always, like, round up the villagers, make sure they get to safety, Xena doing the fighting.
Yeah. Callisto's, like, perched on top of the prison, kind of like a gargoyle. She's, like, overlooking
I like
the whole
God's
yard.
eye view.
Yeah.
Control.
And she is like, okay, this is happening. And she's like, no.
First no.
Not
Yeah.
having it.
She cannot believe her eyes that once again Xena seems to be winning.
Yeah.
Like, despite everything
Winning
she's
kind
doing.
of easily.
Yeah, she's totally taking out all these guards. Like, she is getting a one-up on this whole situation. So, I love the moment where the scene switches to the POV of Gabrielle. And I feel like it starts when Gabrielle first notices Callisto.
Callisto there saying no.
Yeah. That was...
I think on the second no, Gabrielle's like, oh, I see that.
Yep.
And you feel like there are three no's. It's almost like 1, 2, 3. You feel like the episode is counting down.
Yeah.
And each time, like, the music is getting more and more intense. No, no, no.
And so once the POV switches, shit gets real.
Shit gets real.
Is this one of the best scenes in the show? Yes.
Maybe the best. Better than nosebleeds?
Well, so, I mean, so far, like, out of all the scenes, no, this is hard. But
I wouldn't want to play this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to play.
There's too many good
I don't want to play, but yeah, let's
But yeah, this is the best.
This is the best, but I don't want to play, all right? This is best, number 1.
This one and the following that.
Yeah. I think of it almost all as one scene.
And this is with this is like still with 15 minutes or so left in the episode.
I made us stop.
Minutes.
It's like 13 just about, which is good. I like that. Unlucky 13.
Oh boy.
13 minutes left in the episode. The whole episode basically changes. I would say not just like story-wise, but formally. I feel like it just becomes a different sort of TV making in this moment. It takes on this really like slow lyrical intensity that it never stops with, and I think it's so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it. We're so afraid to say the thing. We're just like, you say what happens.
Right? It's almost just like everybody, for some stuff like this, I feel like I probably got this way in like a One Against an Army or something like that too, where like all of these big scenes that everybody is so familiar with, and there is something about what I think is the most important thing about watching TV, which is your own personal emotional reaction to it, that then becomes very hard to talk about in words. Like, and we can be like critical of episodes, and we can talk about it in a fun way, and we can talk about whatever. But like when it comes to just like expressing how something makes you feel, like on this deep level, that's very difficult.
I wish we could just emote into this microphone.
Like just. Okay, so Callisto.
So Callisto's, perched on her high horse, basically. And Gabrielle sees her for the first time. She notices that Callisto has a chakram. She sees Callisto let it rip. And the chakram goes and smashes right into Xena's back. We hear, like, the sound of glass breaking.
I thought it was of metal.
It was like probably cacophony of all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's certainly not the noise that would make. It's a sort of spiritual noise. You understand that something much bigger and stronger than a piece of bone has broken.
Right, well, the chakram breaks.
Oh, also the chakram.
Two things. So the metal, the chakram.
But still, I feel like this is the sound of Xena's essence breaking.
Wow. Yeah, so the chakram breaks, it falls in slow motion, and then Xena also falls. Her legs buckle, and she topples.
And before that is a drawn-out, slow motion sequence of Gabrielle and Xena looking at each other.
Yeah.
The shock on both of their faces is amazing. They let it linger on that for a while, that, like, you see them just looking at each other.
I think the visual storytelling, starting here in this second, is so wonderful because it really lets these moments breathe emotionally. Like you have, it takes Xena a minute to fall because first you have to look at Gabrielle's face and see the like disbelief giving way to fear, and you have to see like the shock and the helplessness on Xena's face as she slowly falls. And you have to see Callisto almost like not believing that she's done this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And of course that she was not supposed to. It was the one.
Yeah.
She had one job, and
she couldn't help this happening. Like she couldn't help her feelings. She couldn't be on one sort of way that she lets her emotions get in the way of her way.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's not just Gabrielle who's knocked off her path here. It is Callisto as well.
So Xena topples over. We have a Hi Zoe moment.
Oh, it's my favorite. Yes. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
It's a good fall.
It's a great fall.
It is a good fall, yeah. And it's very visibly Zoe Bell.
In the wide
who
shot.
I love to pieces.
We're happy to see her here, too.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a fairly easy topple for her to do. So I liked it. No, not for Lucy. Lucy didn't need to do that. But I'm just saying, she just kind of goes into the mud.
It's a sort of awkward fall. I'm glad they committed to the awkwardness of it. And she doesn't fall pretty because how could you? Like her spine is broken.
She lands on her face.
Yeah, and it kind of gets a bit squished.
I think that's pretty.
Right in the dirt.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's so good.
It's glorious.
All right, glorious, but not too choreographed. Like it feels real.
I mean, that's I would say the wrong word to say for this highly choreographed sequence.
But the best choreography doesn't look choreographed.
Yes. I do love that, like, we previously talked about her reaction shot and also how the episodes where her bangs were pinned up, like,
you could
the
see
power
the
of the brow. Here, it's so powerful that you could see it through the bangs, and it just breaks your heart.
Mm-hmm. There's something so just like, I feel like her expression, unlike the other two who are kind of going through a lot of faces, like she's almost like frozen in like the one face. Yeah. And it's such a good face that it's a face you've never seen her make before, that you're just like, oh God.
I mentioned before that my favorite part of this is the very obvious POV switch from like Xena to Gabrielle. And the photography here continues this, where you see Gabrielle seeing Xena down, and then the next thing she sees is a Roman soldier coming right at Xena.
Still in slow motion.
Still in slow motion. It's coming right at her.
Another thing that I think is great is spatially, you understand where everyone is,
Yes.
like in this courtyard.
Yes.
You sometimes see it in the wide shot, just how close together they actually all are. But yeah, the fact that you see, you go up from where Xena has fallen to the Roman soldier coming at her, just how close you feel, like the proximity. And you're like, oh God, he's right there.
He's right there, but Gabrielle is not right there. So she takes a spear from right next to her and throws it with all her might, and it connects.
Unlike in A Good Day.
Right, yes.
This is A Good Day retaken, and this time she does exactly the thing that she was trying to do there, and it saves the life that she couldn't save in A Good Day.
After that guy falls and dies, she then sees Xena's sword.
This is great, too, because it's, a single
it's the
shot.
Same pan. It's like we pan from that guy falling to there's the sword. Gabrielle runs and grabs the sword and then starts slicing and dicing at all the guards coming at her.
And at first, you're kind of like, this is a great... You're so relieved, for one, because the pacifism arc, as important as it is, it's so frustrating, because you miss badass Gabs, who is Xena's battle companion. Here, finally, we get battle companion back, and she's like, it feels like a hero moment at the beginning. You're like, yes!
But battle companion who not only has given up her way, but is very brutally using a sword.
Right. There's a turn here. I think it starts as the hero moment, but then like the other shoe drops, and you're like, wait a minute, this is very violent.
Gabrielle, Xena's battle buddy, has always used a staff.
Yeah, which she threw into the guy's chest already.
No. That's a spear.
Oh, that's true. It's a sharp
Her
end.
weapons have always been defensive weapons, weapons that are not gonna kill you. Like, she doesn't use her staff to do murders. This is her picking up a very violent weapon and very violently killing.
It's like extra. She does
6,
extra
7,
things.
8
she
dudes.
slits dudes' throats. She doesn't just stab them. She like really intensely, like multiple stabbings, does a lot of violence that you can't comprehend Gabrielle, like the character we know, with this kind of fighting. We've never seen it before, but here it is happening.
It feels
weird, yeah.
Right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've just seen her have this moment with Xena, and you understand where this is coming from. You absolutely know where this just has bubbled up and exploded from.
Yeah, and you feel like, in a way, it gets worse and worse, in part because she's turning and she's seeing Xena on the ground, and she keeps saying, get up, get up.
Yes.
You feel like the violence would end if only Xena would just get up.
It looks like she's like holding...
I'm being you, but I'll stop being you
exactly.
if you come into this fight.
Right, it's temporary. She thinks it's like temporary.
But Xena can't get up, and hence the violence escalates and escalates.
I love the way that they're delivering these lines. I know. Well, we can talk about the one you have a problem with.
I have a problem with the line.
Let's just talk about it. Gabrielle's like, let's go. Like, come on, get up. And Xena's is like, I can't, Gabrielle. And then there's some more fighting. And then you cut back to her, and she says, it's my spine. Which Olivia's not a fan of.
Oh, it's like
you get it.
At a beautiful painting, because the scene is absolutely flawless, except for this one little flaw. This is a stupid line. I'm sorry, it's stupid. We saw it happen. The visuals were so strong. We saw the chakram go into her back. We see her paralyzed. We see it on her face. We know if she could get up, she would have. She does not have to explain the physical injury that keeps her on the ground. So I'm honestly, I'm sorry.
Really
I sound so angry, but this scene is just so close to absolute cinematic perfection that I'm like, that fucking line! And she delivers it really well. I feel like she knows it's a dumb line, so she does everything in her power to make it like really moving. And she does a great job, but I'm still just sitting there being like, it's my spine? Oh.
You don't say.
Jeez.
It's her fifth vertebra.
But then you get these shots of Xena where you are also in Xena's point of view. Maybe not specifically in the way that it switches to Gabrielle's, but you know that she's watching.
You see her reaction shots.
And you see her with this just, I mean, she's obviously in pain, but most of it seems to be in reaction to watching Gabrielle murder everyone around her.
Absolutely.
That just turns into, no, Gabrielle, no. Which is like the most heartbreaking thing in the world. And I think that one of the complexities about this scene is that, like, I know that, like, the pacifism arc is challenging. It can be pretentious seeming or, like, sanctimonious. It has, like, when you're trying to be a certain way that I was saying earlier is like a very hard way to be as a human. People have like reaction to it.
I mean, it seems to inconvenience Xena, which I feel like a lot of fans have that reaction.
Problem
like,
with that.
you're putting Xena in this bad position.
And
like,
of course you just miss her fighting. But I think that it's like really important to not like you have this catharsis and relief after this whole season and arc of being like, this has been leading to this moment and it's so amazing. But also we should also be reacting like, no, Gabrielle, no, maybe in that moment too, because it's so violent.
So she does 6 murders real quick.
Oh, you counted.
Yes, and she's working on her 7th when her sword is knocked out, so she tackles the guy and starts like headbutting him while Callisto is up on her perch saying something like, Interesting.
Right. She did not expect this to be the consequence at all.
No, she did not.
She's kind of into it now.
Yeah, this was a turn. And this is certainly not something she thought she would see from Gabrielle ever. But I thought what was really great was that Gabrielle is kind of straddling the 7th soldier, and she grabs a dagger, his dagger, and she starts stabbing him repeatedly, which I thought was really fascinating because that's how we began the scene with Xena riding Caesar and almost doing that. So she like
that's so interesting.
That
the straddle, the woman on top,
which apparently is, according to IMDb trivia, is a homage to Basic Instinct.
Oh wow! Okay, well, I've never seen Basic Instinct.
Sharon Stone. That's how she murders. She murders her dudes by riding them and stabbing them with an ice pick. But anyway, so Gabrielle is on top of this guy. She's stabbing away. Then she finally looks at the dagger and kind of sees what's going on. She sees like the bloody dagger fall. And we have a music cue that signifies, well, this is bad.
Right.
Katie, what's your name for the music cue?
Theremin ghost music. It's haunted.
Wow.
It's Meridian, guys. It's Meridian playing it. She's playing the theremin.
Meridian's like, that's right, bitch.
Right, because this moment...
You thought you'd seen the last of me, but then I became Citrina.
But yeah, so this is supposed to definitely harken back to...
The Deliverer.
The Deliverer.
Of her staring at the bloody knife.
Which is an incredible beat to include because obviously... The first time you have her staring at the bloody knife this way in The Deliverer, that was her losing her blood innocence, which was a 2.5 or whatever it is season-long arc about this, sweet baby angel traveling with Xena, and when is traveling with this violent person going to cause sweet baby angel Gabrielle to be also violent in terms of murder. Like murder is I feel like it's a weird word to use when it's especially like defending.
Yeah. It's taking a life.
People taking a life, yeah. Her losing her blood innocence in the rift. I love the way her arc was described in terms of violence. There's an article that is so good that I've been reading called Xena on the Cross, authored by Kathleen Kennedy, who I hope is the same Kathleen Kennedy running Star Wars.
Star Wars would be better if
there would be a lot more female presence.
And the word that she uses, and about this moment, but also about her losing her blood innocence, is that it's apocalyptic. In that the rift and her the first time she stirs this bloody knife literally causes this string of events that has now become a interesting circle where she had all of this horrible stuff happen to her. It led to the deaths of both of their children. It then led to her feeling like she had to sacrifice herself at the end of season 3. And then it has led into season 4 directly. The swing from having something so violent happen in their lives is what led Gabrielle to being interested in pacifism and in the way. And now we are all the way back here with her staring at the knife again.
She tried to embrace this sort of second innocence, and now she's lost that innocence.
Yes, but this is a monumental moment for her character arc because of how in this moment she doesn't pick up there's no staff lying around, there's a spear lying around. She doesn't pick up the spear and then run at the guy to hit him in the face and hopefully knock him out. She chooses to do what Xena would, and this is like her literally becoming a warrior now, or now taking that path to becoming her own kind of warrior, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like the fact that it is that move from A Good Day, which was that moment where she really was confronting, I'm a soldier in a war.
Right.
This could be my life. And she quailed a bit, under that realization. Yep. Here now, she's like, yeah, I'm the soldier in the war. We're doing this.
Yeah. And it all comes from this place of just this amazing love between two women. Not forget that, which is so amazing. That is,
she becomes that empty vessel, I think, because you see that moment where she kind of wakes up. Mm-hmm. She looks at the dagger and she's like, oh, wait, this is what I'm doing. It's almost like she's in a frenzy. Yeah. She's not conscious of what she's doing. Almost. For Gabrielle, being an empty vessel that's then filled up with love, which is what Eli told her she needed to be, she doesn't have the power to heal. When she is that, filled with love for Xena, protecting Xena, she kills people. And it's really powerful and romantic, but it is a very different picture than what Gabrielle had for herself, even though it is exactly what I think she's meant to be. Yeah. Maybe not quite. This is murder baby, but
murder baby.
But I think
murder baby angel.
She has found an essential truth about herself in that emptiness, in that being filled up with love. What does she find? She finds, I need to protect Xena at all costs, not heal the world, make it a better place. She finds, I love this person and they can't die.
One more thing about the scene before these guys are taken away by the guards is that I find that the whole thing is just so fascinating because she's doing it in this absurd outfit. Like, I find the absurdity of her outfit, like,
this
part
is
of
an
it.
excellent
when
point.
She straddles, it's especially like,
this is a woman in like a tight, weird skirt, like tackling a man. And it's just
barefoot.
Basic. Oh, and those fucking sandals, man.
Is she wearing them?
Yeah,
she looked barefoot to me.
No, it's those goddamn sandals. I hate them with a fiery passion, 1,000 suns. But like, it's absurd. Like, we have all these wide shots, just full body of her outfit, and doing all this stabbing and slicing with these rough moves.
Yeah,
and then
there's a reason this outfit is going to be gone now. I will again direct you to the article Xena on the Cross, because she does leave India still wearing the trappings of the way that she is trying to follow. It doesn't fit when she enters back into her own world where she's trying to wrestle with, like,
the patriarchy.
The patriarchy.
Trying to murder them.
With Rome, with, the idea that we are in a story that is being told about, for the most part, like, Western mythology.
Violence is a part of that life.
Violence is very a part of that life. The show questions it a lot, but again, I will ultimately bring it around to, like, is it, like, really reinventing the wheel about violence? I don't know, but it does, like, ask a lot of good questions about it. But the fact that it does seem strange is because, like, she shouldn't be wearing this anymore, because she's now embracing a different way of being, and she's going to get a new outfit, a smaller outfit.
Yes,
that is not practical, but that is now
at least something you
about
fight
her, like, about the path that she's going to be on. So the clothes are important, and it was important that she didn't get rid of them, because they were symbolic.
It is important. She looks a little funny in this fight.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
I think so.
I think it's part of it, for sure.
It feels wrong
in every way, yeah.
Also, we didn't mention that, like, she didn't have the, like, chest henna Because
right.
I think that the Vision didn't have it initially or something
no.
like that.
Yeah, I think they wanted to use some of those TJ shots and they wouldn't work.
She forgot.
The collarbones are in there.
So,
But maybe that's even, let's retcon it and say, you know, that's the chink in her Indian armor. You know, she's already, without even realizing it, losing
parts of it.
What
along
did
the way.
What did the chest one represent?
Well, that's, the heart chakra. Her open heart is
okay.
gone.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
Interesting.
One more, just like, oh my God, these shots, I love them. The wide shot, again, we talked about how it spatially is very helpful. I love also that by the end of it, you see all the dead bodies on the ground. It makes me think of One Against an Army, where I was so annoyed that, like, those bodies kept getting up.
Yeah.
Here they stay down. Very good.
Okay,
Oh, One Against an Army.
This is the One Against an Army for Gabs.
For Gabs.
Yeah.
Defending sick Xena. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the guards come and take them away, and I love that Xena at this point like knows that this is over. Like the Vision is going to come true.
She's probably thinking of that bit where she was being dragged and being like, "Oh, that's why."
Okay, so dang, that was a lot, and
it continues to be a lot
because now we're in the jail cell. They got some new outfits.
No, we don't see them yet. Important.
We don't.
This is all in close-ups.
Oh,
first.
okay.
We start with just a close-up of Xena with an awesome facial wound. Awesome, right on the
she looks incredible
cheekbone.
here, of course. Like
gorgeous.
This is the most. Is it bad to say beautiful? She looks so beautiful.
They
right
both
here.
look stunning.
So gorgeous.
They're very like the intimate close-ups look very good on both of their beautiful faces.
And
I don't think it's wrong to say that.
Awesome. It's almost entirely shot in these tight close-ups, and they're both so beautiful. It means that the actors, you know, all they have are their faces to work with. Very tight canvas. And so much is going on with those faces. So I love that it starts with Xena looking away from Gabs, and she tested Gabs because Xena's back is broken. Gabs needs to physically manipulate her face so that Xena can look at her.
Yeah.
And Xena's like, when Xena sees Gabs, she makes a little noise. Like she's so happy to see her.
Yeah. She goes crying? ? Like, Gabs, are you crying, basically?
Yeah.
And as she says that, like, a tear falls out of her own eye.
Oh.
That is too much for me.
You mean Lucy Lawless and the world's most watery eyes?
Yeah.
This, I really love, again, like, this scene really breathes. You're just looking at the faces for a really long time before anybody says anything. And then you'll notice the dialogue is so minimal. I read that this was Rob's choice. Rob said, can we please do this scene in the jail? There are two scenes in the jail. One has lots of talking. One, it's like they're trying to convey their emotions in as few words as possible. Like, so you have sentences that are 2 words long, never a 3-word sentence. I think it's really powerful writing. You don't often see this on the show. It's not exactly a talkie show, but it's a show that kind of unapologetically will have the characters say what they're feeling. So I think the fact that they've chosen to have a scene that really just lets the visuals speak for themselves. Crying, teardrop falls from the eye. Like, what else do you need to know? I think that's just really confident, like, filmmaking on just a basic level. Like, I feel like this is the show firing on all cylinders. It's like, we trust our actors, like, we trust our writers, we trust our directors. Like, we don't need to do anything but just let that stuff appear on screen.
Gabrielle says she's not crying, or
I won't.
And then she says, rest. Xena says, okay.
Don't forget about that forehead kiss.
Forehead kiss.
Yeah. And the guard is taunting them. It won't be long now.
We cut from the tight close-ups to a wide shot. And in the wide shot, you see the guard, you see they're in prison, and you see the outfits.
Yes.
For the first time.
Right.
You see the chic bandage dresses.
Very
chic bandage dresses.
Which are from the Vision. So this should feel like a cling of like, oh shit.
Oh, no.
Because you see the outfits, you're like, we're in the Vision now, almost.
Can we talk about the positioning?
Yes, positioning. Well, and also with the outfits, just the idea that they have been like stripped of their clothes.
Right.
And,
They were like, Gabrielle, out of that outfit.
I mean,
Goodbye outfit.
But it's horrific.
But do you think those
Yeah.
jailers
Yeah.
would be like
Awful.
putting Xena's bindings in such
I
a dress-like way?
I'm sure that Gabrielle did that. She's like, wait, no, we
maybe
can
she
make it look
fixed it. You
should
much
fix it.
better.
Yeah, she fixed it.
Yeah.
We make it look like the vision.
So the positioning.
Yes. Go
Well, I mean, obviously Xena can't move and is injured. Her back is across Gabrielle's legs, and Gabrielle has her in like the crook of her arms. Or
Yeah, what it really reminded me of was like the Pieta, like Mary and Jesus.
Yeah.
Xena is Jesus and lying across Gabrielle's lap, sort of. And you have this real sense of like Gabrielle both like protecting Xena, but also like, you know, gazing upon her worshipfully.
You could have not had that with then Xena being on a cross.
Right.
Like, you had
I mean,
to have
yeah,
had
part
this.
of that. We've had the Last
You have to
Temptation.
have
You
it.
have to have the Pieta.
Yeah, you need the Pieta. You need it all. Yeah.
So then we see a shot of the pacifists and Amaris escaping into the woods.
Phew, they
They got away. Yeah.
Amaris kind of looks behind her, signaling to us, oh, I think we know how this story will continue.
And Brutus is in Rome. He's working on the senators there.
I love this set. The
like that?
Senate
Yeah.
set. Yeah, you got the tile floor. Always nice to see in Xena, the black and white. That's become very meaningful over the years. These big busts, of course, of old Roman dudes. Lots of columns, lots of shafts of heavenly light. And, of course, everybody is wearing white.
Right,
Like the
yes.
senatorial robes. Except for Brutus, who is in his armor.
Right.
Which is a nice touch.
Right, because now you're like, you would not be able to recognize him otherwise. You're like so used to it. So he's whispering to all the senators, like, I got conclusive proof that Rome is under threat.
This
And-
is all in a single shot also,
Yes.
which I thought was a clever choice. You see first the cameras with Brutus and his conspirators, then it drifts as Caesar comes in and you see him being like, friends!
And
Like,
he's wearing now like the big old
The white
bombastic like super robe. 'Cause
Super-
it's different, it stands out from the other robes. And yeah.
Extra
he's-
white.
Yeah, well, he has like little designs on it too. So
and the way this shot is framed, you have Brutus and the conspirator kind of on either side of the screen and Caesar in the middle. So the camera racks focus so that you see Caesar, and then it racks back so you see Brutus in focus. And he says he thinks he's a god.
which is great. Yeah.
It's great. It's so great. Everything about this is just, again, I feel like you could probably cut almost all the lines out of the last 13 minutes of this episode. The visual storytelling is so strong
good, yeah.
So
that you get everything that's happening. And, you know, it's kind of amazing considering how much is going on. You know, all these different plot threads, all these different characters, all these different things from all 4 seasons of the show are coming together. And yet it needs almost no dialogue to explain it. I think it's awesome.
Well, this next scene has a lot of dialogue. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not
It's so
saying
good.
I want it cut, but you could.
So we're back with Xena and Gabrielle in the jail. Boy, this is incredible stuff.
Just read all the lines.
Yeah, I'm like, all the lines.
this is
and
just
all
one of
the
those
lines.
things where it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, all the lines have to be read. So just do it.
Xena says, I made you leave the way of love. That was my fault. Gabs is like, I had a choice to do nothing or save my friend. I chose the way of friendship.
Which is weird.
Let's
but
unpack it. No, let's unpack it.
Yeah, come on.
Because it's interesting to have the words like the way of love versus the way of friendship, but she's very specifically talking about what Eli was presenting to her, like what, and versus a much more, I don't know how to like fully articulate it all, in a way that makes sense, but like friendship here is the higher power but the phrasing makes it sound like
it's lower. Yeah.
yeah, like love and friendship.
Right.
Yeah. In a way, this is just it's a problem with English. It's a problem that English kind of has those connotations. You have love and then you have friends. You can love your friends, but it seems to denote a less profound level of commitment.
Wait until they start
wanna
soulmate.
I'm gonna go back to that article again, the Scene on the Cross article, and this is what's so powerful about some of the readings of this show is that it can be so radical sometimes, where like I'm not saying anything about like, you know, what Eli is saying is bad and you have to choose like earthly love or whatever, that like loving a god who is all about love, and versus like Gabrielle focusing here on her love for Xena. They're like equated together. They become this like one thing in the end of this episode, where like the love between these two women is now like the divine
expression
love.
of
and
love.
It is literally symbolized in a massive like symbol in culture of them being crucified.
Right.
It's radical.
Perfect love.
Yeah. It's this show's really intense. It's like, I'm not doing this sort of idea justice. That's why I keep mentioning the article. But the way of friendship is, I don't even have words. You guys, I don't even have words. I don't have words for this bullshit because it's too intense and it's just too wonderful.
I was wondering if maybe ancient Greek could help us, because they have all the different words for love.
Yeah, this
there
would be
are different
nice.
kinds of love. There's agape, which is the love for all people, this sort of selfless love. But then there's also eros, which is sexual passion.
Course. That's not part of this.
And pragma, which is long-standing love, like the love between married couples. So these, like, not that any, like, I just went through the different ones and was like, none is quite how I'd want, the word I'd want to use for Xena and Gabs. But I think it's a nice, friendship is tough because it seems to, like, be denoting a specific kind of relationship, and I don't necessarily think that fits.
Right.
Like, I almost do want to, like, translate this into ancient Greek so that they can have the way of agape and the way of this
because
more
I feel
personal, like, devotion.
Yeah, devotion. I just feel like, yeah, when you're watching it, you kind of, I think that the first time you see it, like, you get it. Like, you feel it on a deep in your bones level that you understand what it is. And then you kind of watch it some more and you're like, hardy har, friendship, like, quote unquote friendship. And then you start thinking about like subtext or whatever you want, like Xena and Gabrielle are friends, you know what I mean? But it's so much more. So I feel like when you just first hear it, it's like you just kind of get it, like without having to pull it apart too much, which we're doing.
It's just one of those things. I get it, and I love it, and I love what it means for Gabs. I love that Gabs has chosen her own way. You know, the way of love was something presented to her by Eli, and it involved worshiping this dude.
Right.
You know, and Gabrielle has a problem with worshiping dudes. Like, she's into that. Sometimes we're frustrated with her, but it's true. And now finally, like, she has found her own way. Like, it's not something that a spiritual mentor has taught her. It's something that she has discovered for herself. And that is what any spiritual quester should be trying to do.
Yeah.
Find their way. Maybe it's a way that you learn from someone else, but you always have to adapt that way to you. Make it yours. By giving it her own name, she is making this way be hers.
Gabs, help us. Oh my God. I want to write stuff down about this. This is like essays.
I want to write.
I want to do
Dear
essays.
Ides of March, I heart you.
Yeah.
Love, live.
That's like about as good as what's coming out of my mouth right now. Because I'm just like, oh God.
So Xena says, I'm sorry for all the times I didn't treat you
Jesus.
right. Gabrielle.
Guilt is still there.
Yeah, Gabrielle says, what, Liv? Read that.
Xena, you brought out the best in me. Before I met you, nobody saw me for who I was. I felt invisible. But you saw all the things I could be. You saved me, Xena.
You saved me. That's pretty loaded.
Do you need to unpack?
No.
Jesus saves.
Oh. Jesus, fish. Xena is water element.
Oh, wow.
Rob loves fish.
Eli gets the,
Yeah.
don't the followers get the,
Yeah.
next year.
So Xena goes, I wish that I had read your scrolls just one time.
I am so happy, you guys, because finally finally, the rift is truly over. She has apologized for the TP. She has apologized. It is finally out in the open. And finally, they can put it all behind them. Everything. All the trespasses. It's all gone. It's all gone. I'm so happy. Xena is washed clean of her sins.
Right.
No more scrolls as TP.
Oh my god!
I love that because like when she's like, I didn't treat you right. I was like, oh, because you used her scroll as toilet paper more than once.
Way more than once, like every time.
It's so crazy.
I love the simplicity of I'm sorry for all the times I didn't treat you right. And then, but if you made a list of like what those things are and the things that happened to Gabrielle, it's like, whoof.
Yeah.
I love the way she says, I wish I had read your scrolls.
Had read.
Oh, it's so good.
Right, because she can't read, guys.
Doesn't speak English good.
Yeah.
I do love the undercurrents of Gabrielle's speech about being invisible and like nobody really understanding
being
her.
gay.
That's actually very subtexty, absolutely. But then also like just a much more broader notion of just being able to see the person that she could be generally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful. Help me.
Yeah, so I know we just laughed a lot about the scrolls thing, but yes, this part is just incredible.
And this is acknowledging her writing, which is another part of her that...
Right, and then just like an interesting fact that Xena, like while Gabrielle spends every episode writing about whatever happened in the episode, Xena just never reads
them. She's not aware. Yeah, she hasn't seen Xena Warrior Princess. She doesn't know how awesome she is because, she hasn't read those scrolls.
And that Gabrielle answers with, you would have liked them. And she's like, I know.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because she's like, yeah.
It's good.
That's really good.
I just evolved.
Yeah, it's hard
into
to
a
find
mess.
things to say about this because it's just so sweet and it's so perfect. These are like beautiful final lines. If the show ended here with this conversation,
Whoa, don't save it for the mailbag.
I know it's one of our mailbag questions, so we're not supposed to answer that. But I think you know what my answer would be.
We can answer this in brief. This sequence and then the what is to follow was pretty satisfying. The dialogue,
it sums up the whole show.
Said.
It calls back to sins of the past, which feels so wonderful to have that present here.
I will get into it in the mailbag more.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to get crucified?
Yeah.
All right. The guard says, it's time. And there they go.
The way they like pull Xena
They pull apart, Gabrielle reacts.
And Gabrielle reacts because Xena cries out because it's painful. And she just really reacts to that. It's just a nice, I don't know, just these little things that
it's very good.
are good choices.
I also like that Callisto breaks up the scene too. She's with the guard, just looming with her like head tilted.
You see her like dress robe.
Yeah.
And it's cool. All right, so they are being taken to their crosses now. Gabrielle is being marched out, but Xena is being dragged out. And then Xena sees Callisto watching.
Gabrielle, I think, does too.
Gabrielle sees her.
That's been an interesting thing that Gabrielle
in this scene
never says, "Oh, Callisto's here," but you see her watching her.
Yeah, and this is where like they pass by Callisto catching snowflakes on her tongue.
That is
because it is snowing.
The best. What a moment.
What a credible Callisto moment.
One of the top 5 Callisto moments just perfectly encapsulates her particular childlike chaos thing. We found as we were researching this episode that this is a lot of people take credit for this
such a good moment.
Great idea. Hudson says the director, who would be Ken Girardi, came up to her and asked her to do this, and she thought that was perfect.
Because she was just standing, like, staring at the snow come down.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, why don't you stick your tongue out? And then RJ's like, I wrote that.
Yeah, RJ claims he scripted it.
If anyone has the shooting script for Ides of March,
let us know. Bring us that shooting script. We need to know.
Spill us that tea.
Is it Ken? Is it RJ?
Okay, so now we are in Rome, and Caesar walks up to Brutus, and he's like, what up, my dude? Why the sourpuss? And he's like, do you have anything to tell me about your announcement? All right. You're not going to like it at first, but I plan to persuade you. You're all packed for Gaul there, bud?
ready to go?
I'll be ready. Dun, dun, dun. Good talk. At this point, we begin the intercutting.
Yeah.
This is
the climax of the episode.
Yes, it is the climax of the episode, but it is some awesome intercutting.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It is. Yeah.
Robert Field, the editor, really gets to take center stage here, and this is some of the finest work he's ever done on Xena.
Yeah, this is kind of the best scene.
Kind of the best thing ever.
Just so I know I hyperbolize a lot, but literally this episode has many of the best scenes in this show. Yeah.
Yup.
This is when Callisto is talking to Xena.
Right. So they're laid out on the crosses, and Callisto crouches down, and she's like, "Don't give me that confident look. You're about to die like a slave and drag your friend with you, and it's all right by me." And then Xena, of course, one-ups her.
Because
she's Xena.
Because she's Xena. She basically says that Callisto has failed in her mission.
Which Callisto should have known once she actually caused Xena physical harm. Because that was literally like
she was supposed to tempt her.
Yeah.
She was supposed to get her off her way. She failed. She's a big fail. Why is she gloating?
She's a big fail.
But Callisto's like, nah, like that. None of that stuff was really important. What really matters is that Caesar is emperor and reigns for a really long time. And Xena doesn't say anything to this, but I'm sure in her mind she's like, ha ha ha.
Does she know though? Like, does she know that it's going to turn? She can't know.
She can't know. But of course, the intercutting. One of the wonderful things about it is that it seems to suggest that she does know. Yeah. It seems to suggest that these things are almost happening on the same plane of existence.
Well, she can. The only thing she can do is hope that her incepting Brutus worked, and that she has read Brutus the way she thinks she has read.
She can't know, and that's why I'm glad she didn't be like, "You best laid plans, Callisto," or something, because that would be annoying.
Final line.
But you see in the intercutting, which I think again is one of the things that makes it so powerful.
Mm-hmm. So Caesar walks up and he's like, "I have an important announcement to make." And
I love that he's got the arm up.
It's
like he goes for it. He's like, "I am Caesar. I am being so Caesar-y now."
And we begin the super duper intercutting here with the crucifixion prep. We have the legs tied to the cross. We have the hands tied. We have everything looking just like the vision.
Can we talk a little bit about this editing technique?
Yes.
And some of the most famous instances of it in cinema?
Yes.
Sure.
Well, it's called parallel editing, two parallel scenes in which you're intercutting to kind of show the parallelism between them. In this case, you have like actual kind of graphic matches and like hammer comes out, swords or daggers come out.
The nails are getting
nails.
placed. Yeah.
And in this case, it's building tension in both scenes. You're watching the preparations for a murder. Probably the most famous instance is Godfather, the end of Godfather, the baptism montage in which you're intercutting between Michael Corleone in church and his assassins murdering people all over town. So you hear him being like, "I renounce Satan." Meanwhile, boom, they're killing people. It's adding a lot of irony to the scene. Mm-hmm. If you had both of those as separate scenes, it wouldn't have that same level of commentary. Yeah. So this is not exactly doing the same thing, but by intercutting these two scenes, it's asking you to make connections between them. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and Robert Field goes way beyond just like asking. He's basically telling you via the way that he edits some of these reaction shots to how he wants the scene to translate.
Yeah, so let's keep going with the scene a little bit.
Oh, sure. Okay, well.
The other cinematic use of parallel editing that I could think of was Elizabeth, the end of Elizabeth.
Oh, my fave.
Vera, I felt you should describe that one. She get a haircut.
Right, so it's Elizabeth, the big climactic moment where she is becoming the Virgin Queen. So she is getting a makeover while simultaneously has ordered the murders of all her enemies. So everybody's getting killed in various ways while she is getting crowned in a church, basically.
It's basically The Godfather. Yeah. You know, Michael is sort of crowning himself King Mafioso,
right,
as Elizabeth is crowning herself Queen of England. Mm-hmm. Here we have Caesar crowning himself Emperor of Rome and the world. But it fails.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of these other scenes in which, you do these murders and you get to rule. Caesar's doing these murders. He is killing Xena and Gabs remotely, but he doesn't get to rule. So I think this is a cool inversion of this very famous cinema classic of being like, here is the patriarchy establishing itself, or in the case of Elizabeth, here is a woman kind of like making the patriarchy work for her. In Xena, it's death to the patriarchy.
So on the cross, and just like the vision, Xena turns to Gabrielle and says, Gabrielle, you are the best thing in my life.
Yeah.
And Gabrielle answers with, I love you, Xena. And then Xena smiles. And Gabrielle kind of also does.
And this, of course, isn't it like the biggest victory that they're able to say these beautiful things and smile as they're being crucified? Like, this scene doesn't feel like torture. It doesn't feel gratuitous. It feels like a celebration of these two characters and their love.
What's interesting, because I always think that Gabrielle, whenever she says I love you, Xena, it's always in like the worst possible, like...
You're thinking of maternal instinct.
Yeah, no, I think it's a continuous like through line throughout the series where she always busts it out at like inappropriate times is not like the right words, but like the most horrific things are happening around her or to her, and that's when it comes out. So I think this is very fascinating, and of course, I mean, here, it would come out right now, and it's wonderful.
Xena's really shivering. Like,
her
lips are trembling.
It's cold. This is the
snowing.
scene where Renee O'Connor got actual hypothermia.
That's
it's
horrible.
Cold. It's actually cold.
Yeah.
Everybody is cold. In a bad way cold.
I mean, they suffered for their art. It looks good.
Amazing,
yeah.
So the senators take out their knives, and the nails are just about ready to be hammered. And
with the little piece of wood, which was how they kept the nail in. That's
which
historically
is
accurate.
Only on the hands.
Yeah,
they didn't do the feet.
Maybe the feet, the bone is more solid. Yeah. I don't know.
Here it is, the stabbing.
Yeah.
So on this day, the 15th of March, I declare myself dead.
I declare myself dead.
Yep. The senators start stabbing, and the hammer goes down on the nails. So here is where the cross-cutting really, really takes place. Because whenever...
And you're really connecting these two scenes this way. Yeah.
I love that the hammer is part of the soundtrack. Like, you hear the ding-ding. It was clearly part of the soundscape that Jolo was working with. And this is a very classical way of uniting these different scenes, as you have the music over them both.
Right.
Like, it's the organ music in Godfather here. It's just Jolo's awesome.
Yeah.
We're about to talk about my favorite music cue. Actually, I think it may be past already. I didn't mention it. When Xena says Gabrielle right before she says you're the best thing in my life, you just hear this like female vocalist go
yes, I know exactly what you're
it's right at Gabrielle. Like, so first you kind of, it like unleashes it. It's so good. It's really good. Go Jello.
No, it's a great moment because it's just like really also just encapsulating this like female energy and world. Yeah. And meanwhile, you are about to have them connected very specifically with Rome doing a murder. Like, every time you see the like striking, a lot of it is like stab and then Xena or Gabrielle reacting to being nailed, but the immediate cut is like Roman guy stabbing Caesar looks like Gabrielle or Xena is reacting in pain to Roman guy stabbing Caesar.
I have a quote from Robert Field, the editor, where he talks about just that choice. He says, if you watch very carefully in that sequence, you will notice that when Caesar gets stabbed, Xena reacts, and when the hammer hits the nail, Caesar reacts. And so it's all even more cross-cut in that Xena and Caesar's life are so inextricably tied together that they're almost experiencing each other's pain, which I think brings an overall emotional impact to what essentially is a brutal and gory murder.
Yes, this is perfect.
Yeah.
A destiny, would you say?
Yeah.
So it's important, I think, to remember, like, crucifixion imagery is all over this show. The first time that it happens to Xena is in Destiny. It's very violent. I'll use that word again that I stole earlier for Gabrielle. Like, it's apocalyptic for her. Like, what happened? I know Vera. It's like you're one of your most important favorite things for Xena, because that is really what set her off. There are many things that set her off on a path, but here is one of the biggest. And tying it together with Caesar.
It looms so largely in her mind that's where she is in Bittersweet. She's on the cross.
Yep, and So, Destiny you have, and then, Bittersweet you have again, and then here you have it again, but this time it feels different than the first, because in the first time you have this sort of very destructive thing that happened to her. In this version, even though, again, it is very upsetting because it is a very violent, very horrible death, it is also presented as, like you kind of said earlier, peaceful. Not in these moments when they're reacting to getting nailed, but that the two of them transcend what's happening to them.
What was Eli's line? That love is, the most divine expression we have. It's power.
Yes.
And this is you feel like these two women, even in death, have this power. And of course you see it manifesting in Caesar's death 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
To me, that's why the scene is so moving, is not because they're dying and the vision wasn't averted. It's because they found in the vision a kind of glory, and Xena has managed to work it so that, in her death, Caesar dies too, and that's like the end of this thing that had been bothering her for so long. It's a release. Yeah. It occurred to me when we were talking about the intercutting, the feeling like as if Xena is feeling Caesar's pain and vice versa, that we kind of talked about Past Imperfect like that the intercutting of Xena giving birth and Boreas dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she seemed to be feeling his pain. So I think it's interesting that these two men, important men in Xena's life, when they die, she feels it. It's interesting.
It's also one of my favorite things to do in bidding. Just
Of
it's such a great trick.
I mean, this is how to use
editing.
Film. This is how to do it. This is the good.
Yeah, in a way,
shit.
I feel like nothing we can say can be more eloquent than just those images. But those images transcend words. Seeing those two arcs culminate simultaneously, it's so powerful, just on an elemental level.
Just for 2 seconds, a tangent about the power of editing, where these are two scenes that are very powerful, which you can run back to back. You can have the crucifixion scene, great. You can have them getting crucified, great. But intercutting them how Robert Field wanted creates a completely new reading of the scene and ties these characters together in a way that it just wouldn't be back to back. So it's just awesome. Editing is awesome.
And it's sort of using in both, well, I guess you can watch the crucifixion scene and be like, oh, maybe Eli and Amaris are going to ride in and get him off the cross any second now. But really, it feels like both these scenes are already written. We've seen this crucifixion before. We all know what happens to Julius Caesar.
Yeah. The inevitability of the season, I think, is part of its power, because it does. It allows you to feel satisfied, I think, in a way where these things are coming, but then you see it done in this extraordinary way.
I agree. Yeah. It's funny. I think if you'd had both of them in a row, you would almost be frustrated. You'd be like, yeah, we get where this is going. What's going on with Xena? And, where is this? By having Caesar there too, I felt something for him, in a way, because I was feeling things for Xena and Gabs and didn't have time to change gears. You're sad to see this violence, so you're sad to see Caesar die. You're sad to see Brutus do it.
Exactly, because you have Gabrielle and Xena being like, you're honorable man or whatever, but again, he's just part of this Rome sucks, you guys. Like, it sucks.
Brutus isn't any better than the rest of these
and, like,
people.
if you guys also watch Spartacus, like, Rome fucking sucks.
This is how they got to do things in Rome, which is just killing each other and, backstabbing, both literal and figurative.
Right. And which is also why it's pretty fabulous that I know people have, depending on how you want to watch your TV or your entertainment, I don't know, but, like, I think that the introduction of the cult of Eli is amazing at this time period because you have to have somebody going up against Rome. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of what's happening here.
Yeah, as soon as Julius Caesar joined the show and Rome became a big part of things, we should have realized that Jesus wasn't long behind. We also have here in the scene our final Shakespeare reference with Caesar's last words. He says, "And you, Brutus," and Brutus stabs him. This is, in Shakespeare, it's et tu, Brute, the Latin, which has become very famous. I think it's interesting because you often see in productions, this is a very important line, and people do it different ways, and it tells you a lot about how, like, that particular actor sees the character of Caesar. Mm-hmm. So you often see a kind of, like, very moving, vulnerable kind of delivery, because it's like, oh my God, like, I loved you, really? It's like, it can be too. That's what it means. It can be a kind of, I loved you. Yeah. You see that a lot. Here, I love that Carl/Kyle just, like, hisses it. Like, we've never seen him so ugly and kind of ruthless.
It's more like,
I guess he never loved Brutus like how Brutus loved him.
It's like contempt. And you, Brutus, like, just like, like fuck off. Instead of I
almost read it as like, your turn. Like, it was kind of like,
come at me, bro. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's so perfect for Carl's particular take on the character. He was always this little shit, Like, he wasn't a great man. He always felt like a man who thought he was really great, but was, in actual fact, just, had a little dick, basically. So I love that you kind of see his true face in this last moment, and Brutus stabs him.
Oh, man, he makes a cross-eyed face right there.
He does.
A choice by Kyle.
It's not my favorite choice, Kyle.
I think that what was really great about this is that the crosses go up, and then you have the final stab. I liked that placement.
Again, ratcheting up on both sides, the tension.
Yeah, so once Caesar falls, you have this really great crane up from his, like, bloodied white robe body, on the floor, and the circle of senators
kind of inching towards him. Like, I thought of, like, lions coming in to feed, like, it felt like predators.
Yeah, and so this crane up becomes kind of like a god shot, and my favorite part is the dissolve that happens right after that, which is you go from above looking down at Caesar dead to a shot of the Roman soldiers who had just crucified Xena and Gabrielle standing underneath Xena looking up at her. But you realize that, like, it's the god shot becomes a POV, Xena's POV from the cross.
Even though you kind of see her head, but
it's literally like her over the shoulder. Yeah. They're filming over the shoulder, her looking down at dead Caesar. That's how you connect it. That's the dissolve.
She's God.
Yeah.
She's looming over dead Caesar. Yeah. These three soldiers walking away were so intriguing to me. It felt very symbolic.
It lingered on them and their, like, footsteps in the snow.
I thought that was a cool,
beautiful
shot of the snow. Footsteps. It looked real, even though it was totally fake.
But I was like, is this something from Jesus? That there are three people who visit him while he's on the cross, and I don't know my Bible well enough to understand that.
I think they were in the vision.
It felt
and they've
symbolic
had to finish.
Is that Katie, Livy, and Vera walking away?
No, we did it. Oh no,
we're just leaving. Season 4 is almost over. Yeah. We're out.
I'm cold. Let's get out of here.
Put some pants on.
But also in, like, the world of this show, it's still like, this is just a means of execution. Like, it's not like That's Eli hasn't been.
The world goes on,
or like whatever he is. Like, he's obviously the show's Christ figure, but, like, it's just like such a. At this point in the show, it is now actually being the symbol that we imbue the cross to be, versus, like, her getting crucified by Caesar in the beginning isn't that, but it's just like, it's just hella impossible to like think of it in Roman world context, like
that's a humiliation
at this point in time. Without like,
well, it doesn't feel
imbuing
humiliating
it with other meaning. But here the meaning is finally like part of the universe of the show.
Yeah, that's well put. Yeah, this feels like that kind of the ascension, like of Jesus up to heaven. Like this is Gabrielle and Xena about to ascend.
Yeah. So the very, very end of this with Xena, like her soul or what have you would like to call it, leaving her body in the glowy special effects was an addition.
That is
so
blows
wild
my
to
mind.
Me. That blows my mind.
Right. So what you have at first, right, is this incredibly powerful wide shot of Xena and Gabrielle crucified on the cross.
And it's so still. The music cuts out. You just hear the wind.
Yeah, the wind howls. The snow is like basically like a blizzard falling.
You have them transcending this scene earlier, but here the final shot of it just being this like kind of desolate and cold and sad and
right. So they kind of like would have ended on like some sort of reality shot, right, of them like these are our heroes. They're fucking dead.
The end.
That's it. So they had a hard time. Well, certainly RJ, it seems. Rob, I think, was fine with it.
Rob was like, yes.
Do it. And then RJ was like, but what of the kids? Think of the children.
The children.
Yeah, which kind of was like, what?
But it's interesting because you kind of feel like the special effects at the end are, so Xena, this is what happens. Xena, like, her soul leaves her body.
Yep.
She's like looking around
like
whoa. There's like some sparkles. And she sees that this is a shitty event, sees Gabrielle.
She floats over,
like puts her hands on her cheeks to kind of pull Gabrielle's soul out.
That
like,
was nice. Wake up.
Please go watch the video commentary of Lucy and Renee, because like that's when like Lucy's impression of it is Gabrielle, wake up. It's very good. And then Gabrielle also like leaves her body, and they both have this sort of it's very, very Christian looking, very like
angels
white.
Of heaven.
They've gone to, as our friend Nora put it, the same dress shop that Callisto had gone to get her white dress. They're wearing very angelic white outfits, floating around. They kind of clasp each other's hands almost in prayer.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very classic.
I thought it was interesting that Xena is the one who does the prayer
Xena's
hands
the one that
first,
does it.
And then Gabs just kind of holds her prayer hands.
You then see them in a wide shot, like floating around in the sky. And then they vanish, they go
ascending.
up, they ascend. And then we're left again with the
bodies.
actual bodies.
Yes. But you understand that that's not them anymore, and it's easier to look at.
It's much easier to look at when you kind of have divorced like the actual physical presence of their bodies with like their souls leaving. Yeah. It looks a little too silly for me. It's a little silly.
Yeah.
But what it represents is fine with me. Like I love it for what it is. And then I also think it's fun like where it's going to go, at least initially.
Yeah. That's what I don't mind. Like, I don't like the idea that we needed something to, like, tide the kids over the summer so they don't freak out about Xena and Gabs.
Little Bobby and little Julie.
That's what I don't like.
Here's the thing is that, like, when you're watching this episode, you know that there's a season 5. Yeah. So I much would have preferred being left with, like, a horrible image of, like, what the shit?
Like that fucking summer I had to be like, what happened to Mulder? What happened to Mulder? Scully said he's dead.
Yeah. Like, I don't necessarily think I needed it, and then they could have done it. But I think what it represents, like, for the characters, and at least especially for Xena, is interesting to think about. I think this is the more nitty-gritty of what we'll get into in the question that we keep talking about, which is, would you have been okay with the show ending right here? So if they didn't have them ascending and it just ended without that, like, I would have been great for what would have happened in season 5, I think.
I did like that's my only thing about this shot where I'm like, all right, is that having them in their floaty white dresses ascend into a beam of white light is definitely a step of like next season we're gonna be
We're
dealing
gonna do
with
Christian stuff.
Christian shit. We're gonna definitely hang out with the angels.
Yeah, in a way, that's the ultimate to be
Yeah.
continued. It's
Yeah.
telling you exactly what cosmology to expect if you didn't already guess.
Yeah. So that's my one, like, all right, maybe it's fine. Kind of thing. It was a strong image.
Yeah, I don't feel like it is a very strong image, and it's a very powerful emotional response to it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it that much in terms of like what it looks like. It's just like, it can be a little silly.
It's one of those where, you wish there had been some middle path where they could kind of hit that beat, because it does seem powerful to say these characters have been saved. These characters are okay. This is a triumph, like I keep saying. Like, they've triumphed. Like, this isn't a defeat, but not with silly special effects. And white. There's something about the like white dresses and the like wind machine that's just so on the nose.
It's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
It's, I don't mind any of this storytelling, but I think it's a little.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it, but it's the exact opposite with Callisto. She's wearing the flowy white dress, and she's a demon.
Yeah, she's a demon.
Right.
But she's a demon. But,
cool.
like, she was only wearing it like when she's on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
But that the reason that, like, if she were an angel, you'd be rolling your eyes at that. The fact that she's a demon is actually really cool.
Fallen angel.
And also just such a different silhouette for the character.
Yeah.
This like flowy white dress.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's an interesting choice, whereas this is probably like the least interesting way of trying to depict ascent to heaven. But of course it is indebted to, religious art, and like it's nice to see Xena and Gabrielle like put in the place of Jesus and Mary. Like that's amazing.
Two queer women and ascending to heaven, and that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I just like that's the subversiveness of this show that I think is truly wonderful. Yeah.
Well, that is the end of this episode.
Oh my goodness! What's up?
I can't believe
it's been 25 hours.
I can't believe we did it in under 26 hours.
There's just so much to say about it, and so much to like read and write, and like so much to like. So much there. It's so juicy, and all I really want to just do is go like, my emotions, help me.
I mean, I can tell you right now, when I was a small watching this, I mean, this season like shook me because I had never, encountered a vision that like then at the end of the season paid off in such a major way.
I still haven't seen anything on TV like this, especially about two women.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but I was gonna say that to me, like. I remember like Buffy finales would be like, oh shit, this
they could
emotional,
feel like everything came
together,
yeah.
and like something was revealed, major things happened, especially like season 5.
Right. Oh well, which hasn't happened yet.
Here's as Xena did it first.
Yes.
Xena is kind of getting that season 5 Buffy energy, but a whole year beforehand.
Again do it simultaneously when you're talking about the gift, right?
No, 2 years beforehand. Wow.
Yeah, but Xena, like, this season for sure was such a beautiful kind of like release and culmination in this like perfectly successful way. So I had a pin from a while ago, right, that I was going to talk about The Walking Dead.
Oh, what?
And I am going to unpin that now. Ugh,
so must we?
Yes, we must. So this is maybe a story that's only amusing to me, but before you guys watched it, before I watched it again with you, I had not seen this show in like years and years and years and years. But I was watching The Walking Dead, and there's the character Morgan, and he had an arc that was basically like, I mean, they live in a zombie apocalypse, and he certainly has to survive, so he killed a lot of people. And then he went on a arc where he just had a staff, and he refused to shoot zombies in the head.
I think you've actually mentioned this in connection with Gabrielle.
Right, so this was like me unpinning the fucking pin, where I was watching this, that season of The Walking Dead, and this was happening to that character. He had the staff, he went literally on a pacifist arc, and he refused to use, practical things like guns to kill these zombies, and he got a bunch of people in danger because of it, because of like how he had a staff only, and everybody was praising the genius that this arc was like having, that this character was the most greatest thing to ever happen. And I was like, something feels so off about this. Something just doesn't feel right. Like, what is going on? Then of course the episode happened where he like completely went off his way and like murdered a bunch of people again. And I was like, dude, like this is just, what is it? And then it came to me, and I was like, this is fucking Gabrielle's arc. And it was like so much worse because Gabrielle's arc is the best arc, and this episode and like the culmination of it is just the greatest thing ever. And fuck you, The Walking Dead. I'm so glad I don't watch it anymore. So there you go.
This is satisfying. Xena did it first. Xena did it first.
So there you go. What about you guys? Like your responses to this when you first watched it versus like now or whatever?
I just don't. This is one of those ones where, like, I wish I could go back and watch it again for the first time, because it's just, like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, I think is just ecstatic. Like, you just watch it, and it's, like, it is, like, an actual religious experience. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. Like, I had never seen scenes like that. I keep saying that, you know, this show has not yet been matched in terms of just making the story about all these amazing, wonderful, complicated women, like, be so, like, emotional and beautiful. And I think that this is, like, a peak episode for that. Actually, something about... It's not like it hasn't been expressed already. I feel like it has, and it's been pretty clear. But that when you talk about Xena and Gabrielle and their relationship, like regardless of how you want to define them, that early on it was like, here's a subtext. Oh, it's fun. Like, you know, a day in the life, cute. Like, you know, they're together when you can read into these scenes that we're writing. By now, they literally are a transcendent couple. Like, and it is canon, and you just watched it with your eyeballs, and it doesn't matter. Like, you can define how they are for yourselves, like, for you, however you want them to be, you can. And that's, I think, something that is really great about the show as well, the fact that it can be what you want it to be. But at the same time, at this point, after Ides of March, you cannot deny that they are just, like, canonically, transcendently in love in whatever capacity that is. Like, I'm not articulating this well, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same way that, like for me, like, when I was small and I was watching, like, the X-Files, like, Mulder and Scully for me were, like, this transcendent couple, and it didn't matter that the show wasn't putting them together. I know that they're different because they're very, like, they're a heterosexual, like, couple, but, like, now that the show has, like, really done a bunch of ridiculous things with, like, their relationship, it has kind of lost some of that power that it used to have for me, when you could define their connection as just kind of being when there's no words for it, and you keep using the word transcendent because you have no better word. Here are a bunch of soulmates. We haven't gotten to them calling each other soulmates yet, but we will. And
but they are literally two souls.
They have literally
swirling in the sky together.
United together. Like, no one is allowed to, like, say that they're not canon. No one is allowed. Good day.
And Gabrielle gave up her path for Xena. That's just the most amazing declaration of love. And it's called The Way of Friendship.
On that note. Did you have stuff you wanted to say?
I mean, I feel like you guys basically covered it. I would just once again shout out to all the writers, in particular RJ, Steve Sears, Chris Mannheim, who really painstakingly plotted this season, which is technically not over, but feels pretty fucking over. We've talked about season 4 as being the most consistent of the Xena seasons, and I think a lot of that consistency is due to it having a vision. And I don't mean the vision. I mean, it really knew what its ending was going to be.
Well, that's Rob's vision.
And that was Rob. And I think I think the fact that Rob took that vision, gave it to these several writers, more than just those 3, but those were the big 3, who really used that knowledge across all these episodes of TV, and then took stuff from The Rift and stuff from season 2 and stuff from Xena's backstory and wove it all together. I think Ides of March is really notable for me because I generally hate episodes that have, like, a ton of characters, a ton of villains. I hate anything with more than one villain. Here we have Callisto and Caesar, and I think it works beautifully. I think every character here gets their moment in the sun. Everyone from Eli and Amaris to Brutus to Xena and Gabs. Like, everybody is just perfect in this episode. Everything is note perfect except for it's my spine. It's really impressive and it's really ambitious, and it's just the kind of thing where you like go like, what can TV do? What can it achieve? You want to point to this and be like, this. Like, if you tell a story for 4 years, you can achieve this level of emotional intensity, and that's what you shoot for.
Yeah.
Well
Everybody's
said.
top 10 for sure. I don't know anybody who doesn't have this in the top 10.
Gosh.
Oof.
Okay, well, I guess, it's been 30 hours.
30 and it's been 30 now.
30 and a half hours. And we should wrap it up. So before we sign off, don't forget to send in your mailbag questions.
Yeah, we're going to be recording it next weekend. So
what does that mean?
This upcoming?
Yeah, you have this week to send us your question.
Thursday
Whenever
or
you're
Friday.
listening to this, send us your question now. We're going to record.
during the weekdays this week.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
That's it. All right. We're going to get out of your ears. So follow us on all the stuff and things.
XenaWarriorPodcast.com. You can you can listen and rate and leave reviews on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/XenaWarriorPodcast. We are on Twitter at XenaWarriorPod. You should definitely follow Twitter. There's a lot of amazing commentary that goes on there that is like stuff that we say in the podcast, but stuff we might have missed, even though we did talk for 30 hours. I'm sure we missed something.
It'll probably just be a penis joke.
We have those too.
And
emoji.
Facebook and Tumblr and Instagram, Xena Warrior Podcast.
The power!
The passion!
The podcast!